zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawlies, and a date for the formal. This is classic spanking.
Are we doing video?
Please put your pants back on, Neil.
Damn it.
Oh.
You
know what?
Should I put mine back on then?
No, just Neil. Everyone else can have their pants off, just not
Nice.
Neil.
All right.
Neil works at Disneyland. I don't need to see that.
Boom, go to call. I'm on. Something happened, and I'm not going to jinx it. Okay, we're here. We're recording. We're recording video, by the way. So you know. I didn't tell you, Nudie. By law, I have to tell you this.
By law.
Damn, now I'm really going to put my pants back on.
This is going to be on the patrons and all that shit. Because
He looks like he's recording from like a space station.
there you go. I'm not the only guy whose balls you can bust now.
Is this when Dave starts singing Major Tom?
Nice. I'll be singing all right. Yeah, I've never done in this room before. I had to move because I had too much echo in my horror room. Well, that's a whole horror floor, but in my recording room, I cannot get rid of the fucking echo. I spent all this money on the best mic I can get and everything else in every situation, and I decided to throw in the towel. So,
you need to get there's a thing you can attach to your mic where it goes like this.
Yeah, I have one.
And it catch. Yeah, well, there you go. What he has.
Can you guys see that or no?
Looks like a kitty litter box.
It looks like
it's a box,
Chase from 2 years ago.
A mic, a blanket, a pillow, and that's the fucking thing in there. It's all in there. That's what Watson told me. That's what Watson said I should do. We were talking about it earlier today.
I have a $40
Oh, Watson was the one who told me to get the isolation panel.
We know, Neil. We hear your podcast.
No, you don't. You don't listen, you liar.
I choose if I've seen the movie. My problem with commentaries is I've got to watch the movie, but I mostly only watch movies for podcasting.
That is the problem.
Listen, I don't care.
I can't listen to. I mostly listen to podcasts at work, and I can't listen to commentary podcasts at work because I need the movie, or it just doesn't work.
What about Christians?
Because I called him out a couple times, and he wrote me a message.
Yeah, I do listen. It's true. I listen and support every fucking show on the network just to do it. I want to comment much more than I should. Like I want to go into the group pages and say this and that, and I think about it, but I'm always at work and I'm driving, so I can't. Then by the time I get home, forget about it. Then the next day I'm like, oh, what was I going to say? Because I have no thoughts. I only have like a 24-hour mind.
That's me thinking of new memes every day. I'm like, shit, by the time I get home, I forget half of them.
Yeah.
That's the experience I think most of us probably have is like I'm in the car and you guys are with me in different areas, and I'm like talking back to the thing. I'm like, I gotta write them afterwards.
Yeah.
So the last one was a Horror Coliseum when you guys were doing the remakes to one another. And,
that was a good one.
And there's so many things I'm like, I just wanted to interject and throw out there, and I'm like, fuck, you forget it all by the time you get home.
To me, that's how you know a podcast is good, is if you're trying to talk back to them, you know it's a good show.
Yeah.
Agreed. And no, what I'm saying is about Christian, what I was saying about you is, what about TGIF 13? Do you listen to that? Because that's commentary, but it's not full commentary.
I was going to say the only commentary show I can listen to at work is TGIF 13 because of it being a short, condensed version.
Skips through half the movie.
you skip through most of the movie.
Can't really follow along with that one.
Well, I edited it down, but we haven't done a show in like 6 months. It's been like the longest hiatus ever.
We know, Watson.
Yeah, it's but there's no excuse. There's no research. if there's research, it's like on like this level. Watson's like has like freaking essays he's reviewing for.
I'm not even on
Dude,
that level.
I know he just said he has like over 10 pages of notes for his new show. And I was like, dude, we had like an hour and a half long conversation about that show almost 2 months ago.
Wait a minute.
This is the only note. Oh, sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm saying you mean the next episode he's doing of Horror Corridor?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very in the know. I know a lot. I talked to Watson a lot, so I know a lot of what he has coming out.
Well, I didn't know if you went when you said new show. I didn't know if you meant the next show he's doing or the next, because he's retiring Corridor. So I didn't know if you meant that.
On that also.
Oh, do you now?
Yeah, I've talked to him a lot about that. We have conversated many a times.
I talked to him a lot. I don't know anything about it. Wow.
Well, you don't do YouTube though. I do YouTube, so like we have talk about the issues and stuff like that.
You're talking about his YouTube.
Oh no, I actually do not know this mysterious podcast he says he's joining.
Okay, that's different. Okay, that's what I meant. Okay.
Yeah, I've never. I should ask him. He probably would tell me.
Is he coming on No More Room in Hell?
Not to my knowledge.
No, I think he's going to be on the next version of the Horror Mafia podcast. I don't know if it's going to be Slice and Dice or the whatever version has all of them as host.
Jerry would know. Jerry's on that shit.
I am now, yeah.
If
unless I took Watson's spot.
How many shows are you on now?
Technically 8, but 2 of them are on extended hiatuses, so it really doesn't matter.
I will stick to my one.
Yeah.
It's the stars have aligned for me. My wife works nights and weekends, so it's like I have all the free time in the world. We don't have any kids.
Yeah.
The
stars have
maybe
aligned.
you should get a mistress.
Yeah.
I tried that shit, man. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Right. This is
get you a mistress, take her to an old cabin in the woods, and eventually
he had a heart attack, so leave him alone.
Are you recording, Christian?
Me and Jerry are medical buddies.
Good. The show's begun.
This is the show.
This is the show. Let's just have it start with you asking Jerry how many podcasts are you on? There you go. All right. Exploding Heads. Here we are. Dude, this is bonus, so we can do whatever we want. It doesn't matter. Well, it matters because we have great friends here. So it's awesome. So anyway, to be official, I'm Dave Z. I'm here with Christian as usual.
Hello, everybody.
We are not here with Brandon.
Yay! Heal, Brandon.
Yeah. Heal. Right. Yes.
I don't know. Brandon must be pretty good. It took 3 of us to replace him.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, the reason these 3 gentlemen are here is because Brandon, you guys are Brandon's 3 favorite podcast hosts. So, that's the reason. So,
I guess I got to listen more often to hear him say some good shit.
So there you go.
Oh no, Brandon's in a grumpy mood over the past couple episodes. He's very angry. He finally hit his teenage goth phase.
We gotta introduce these guys. Everybody's here. Unless they're watching the video, they don't know who we're talking about yet.
Okay, let's introduce them. Let's talk about. What we'll do? We'll go with the easiest guys first and the hardest guys last. Okay.
Easiest by sexual nature or
easiest to get in the sack, to talk into it. Yeah, no.
That's nudie for sure.
Yes, it is nudie.
Yeah,
it's nudie on both counts.
I'm the easiest and the hardest.
And that was the one note I wrote down for the show. We wanted Willis, we got nudie.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Now I'm starting to question Christian's whole replace Brandon thing. I think I'm siding with Brandon on this one. Christian obviously makes bad choices.
Yeah,
he does. He lives in Canada for one.
Oh boy.
And he blew me off when he was in Florida too. So there's that.
It's true. 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It's actually 2 years ago.
Forget it.
This week. It's literally 2 years ago. We went down to Florida and we were at Disney and he was working and I had messaged him. He's like, I'll be working. But then we went out late and I got back from the park, like the Disney parks, and you're exhausted. So I healed out. I went to bed.
Hey. So Nudie, is it true? Like we know Christians in the circus. Is it true that you're goofy?
No, I'm just fucking them.
Nudie's fucking goofy. All right.
I'm fucking goofy.
Okay, so that's Nudie. He's Mr. NFW. That's the only podcast that he's a full-timer for, correct? Nice and easy, right?
Now I do the one with Alex and Josh James, the new action show, because
Pimp it.
we want to counteract the Mr. Hate action over there on the left of my screen.
Wow.
I forgot. So what's that show called?
It's the Hard to Kill podcast. We got 2 episodes released so far, and number 3 will be out in a couple of weeks, I believe. We're going to try to stagger it once every 3 weeks or so.
Nice.
Because, Alex has a tough recording schedule. So far we're liking it, though. We're having a good time.
That's great. All right, so there you go. There's Nudie. You can call him Uncle Nudie, or you can call him Neil, or whatever the hell you want. He don't care.
Uncle Nudie sounds kind of like
Just don't
molesting.
call me late for dinner.
Well, that's what they call him on Horror Mafia. They call him Uncle Nudie.
That's what Joey calls me, yeah.
Yeah. So I just roll with it.
I worry about that guy.
Yeah, Joey. Oh yeah. So okay, so maybe he wasn't as easy as I thought. He does have 2 shows now. I forgot. Okay, that leads us to Jerry Herring, who actually has 3 shows, but he tries to say that it's only 1 because it's under one banner. But I guess you can explain it. It's all under the Kill the Cast banner because there's Jerry Hates Action. There's don't tell me. There's Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space. Tell me that's it. That's it, right?
Yeah, I was going to address this. When Derek was on y'all's show, he said the whole title was Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Visions from Monsterland. The Vision from Monsterland is more like a catchphrase and not the actual name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I would never make a podcast that's name is longer than Christian's dick. That's just fucking ridiculous.
I don't know who you've been talking to.
Is that why you named it KFC?
Yeah,
KFC?
that's more like it. I don't know if you could get the 3rd letter on, actually.
I fucked up my own joke.
Cute French Christian.
That's great. How about that? This guy has an action movie podcast, and this guy here has a hate action movie podcast.
Yeah, well, Dave, you're in the same boat as me to where you're not a big fan of the action genre, and you recently, in January, decided to watch a lot of classic movies, including some action ones. So you're in the same kind of boat as me. Now that you're older, do you enjoy the action movies more? Is it easier for you to turn off your brain and just enjoy the ride? Or are you like me where you're just like, why is that ninja wearing bright orange? That makes no fucking sense.
I'll answer quickly so I can introduce our other guest. But I'll just say this. The movies that have the most amount of action, I tend to like the least. For example, movies that are classified as action, to me, I like RoboCop. I watched RoboCop, and I really didn't notice a whole lot of car chase gun shit stuff. And then I watched another movie like The Terminator, and I didn't notice that either. So I think if I watch Die Hard or Top Gun or something else, those are more action movies, if you will.
Top Gun is awful. Don't watch that.
Yeah, I had a feeling it might be. But so I think the choices I've made, they haven't been the most actiony. So for that reason, I think they're kind of like under the action banner. You know what I mean? But like horror movies, some they're labeled horror, but they're kind of like on the fringe. Like RoboCop and Terminator. Yeah, they're action, but again, I think they could be classified
a lot of sci-fi.
Under multiples. Right, it's multiple, and I'm okay with sci-fi because I'm a horror geek, and they're like our stepsister in a way, you know?
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's my answer to that. But now, please, let's talk to this gentleman over here who's been very gracious.
Too polite for the show.
Yes, he hasn't said a word. He's sticking to the script. Mr. Jerry Cortes, who, can I do this? Okay, No More Room in Hell.
1.
Okay, the side cast of that, which fresh cuts. Okay,
2.
which is for the new ones. I'm trying to go by what has the most action, as in releasing the most stuff. Slice and Dice seems to be jumping up there because you just recently joined there. Yes. Slice and Dice. Okay, now let's see what comes on after that. Oh, Horrorcast. Okay. Yep. Horrorcast is next. Okay, so I'm okay. So that's 3 or 4 maybe. Then after that, that's when it gets a little fuzzy because Theme Warriors.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, Theme Warriors. Okay, another one. So that's 4 or 5. Is that 5?
Yep. 5.
That's 5 so far. Yep.
Okay,
like a
so
visual
5.
cue here.
And then now we're getting tough. Okay, then we go to Rad Radio.
Nice.
That's 6. Okay. That's the All 80s podcast.
Yes, sir.
Which I named, by the way. And 7 and 8. What the hell?
How have you not named the easiest one? You literally just said it.
Yeah.
I just said it?
When you were talking to me, you said it.
That
Derek.
Underwater Kaiju.
There you go.
Yes,
There you
duh.
go.
Okay.
I have no idea what the 8th one is, even though he says it every time I record.
Yeah, the 8th one has not recorded an episode yet.
Beneath the Zenith.
Yeah, Beneath the Zenith is
it's
technically, sadly,
Well,
but
Yes,
Beneath
it's
the
gone.
Zenith, probably one of my favorite podcasts that I did, but unfortunately, with the return of Slice and Dice Dreadcast, Joey and Bill and J-Mac didn't really have the time to dedicate to that podcast because, Beneath the Zenith, because we were covering conspiracy theories and unsolved events and things like that, had a lot of prep involved, a lot of, going to, I even went to a library once, go figure. I checked out some encyclopedias. Yes, go figure, because I couldn't find all the information on a certain topic that I wanted online. So I actually, I went the brick and mortar route and looked up some books in the library and found the information I was looking for. But to speak on the 8th podcast, it's a true crime podcast that I'm still working on with a friend of mine out here in LA. It's just going to be the two of us. We're both just huge on true crime, serial killers. We between the two of us, we know more about serial killers than anybody really should. So yeah. So it's a subject that's near and dear to my heart that obviously stemmed from my love of horror movies. And hopefully before 2019 is out, that one will have at least one episode available. We don't even have a title for that one yet. Go figure.
Wow. Well, dude, that's okay. So you're telling me you found another guy to produce, another producer.
Well, I'm probably going to be driving the bus on that one most of the time. So.
You can do that stuff now? You've learned to produce and edit and all that shit?
I'm in the process, yes.
Oh, you're going to regret it.
I know
okay.
I am.
I refuse to
I
do
like
it.
how Daisy is like, you're going to regret it. And Christian's over here like, yep,
Asshole.
fucker.
Yeah, but Christian, he'll tell you. I don't rush. I don't say anything. I say take as much time as you need, even if it takes you 2 weeks to edit it. I've said this from jump. When we formed the podcast, I said, listen, obviously you're the producer and editor. You're not going to get any pressure from me because I understand how hard it is. And that's it. We're going to record. And when you see fit to release it, see fit. If it comes out 2 or 3 weeks after we record, it does. Have I ever given you
absolutely
any
not?
shit?
No, it's I used to be really bad. Sometimes when I'd be like 2 episodes behind, way back when. We try to keep it on that schedule, but it was a couple of times I'm like, what the hell, man? Because I try to listen in real time, and when they're 5-hour shows, that's tedious sometimes.
Yeah. Luckily, tonight will not be a 5-hour show. You'll be okay. And let me say thank you, everybody. Don't edit. It's a bonus show. I'll get to that. It's a bonus show. Thank you guys for coming on here.
Thank you.
This is all your first times, and we're really happy and excited about it. But let me just say, Brandon, this is not an official show. It's a bonus show. It's not numbered. Like, it's not show 80. We're only going to do a numbered show with Brandon. We said it a long time ago. If someone couldn't make it, we wouldn't even do a show.
You said it like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. I've always said it. Maybe I didn't say it on the show until on. Yeah. The thing is, that's why this is not official. And we're really doing it because Brandon wants to listen. And because he's dealing with some family matters as it is. And he's on a small hiatus. Hopefully he's just going to miss one show. If it's a second show, then we'll have another bonus. But out of respect for him, he felt bad holding us up, even though we were okay with chilling. He said, you know what? Record the show. It'll be fun to listen to you guys. So he brought on some of his favorite podcasters, some of our favorite podcasters. We're just gonna
Neil.
Duty Tube, yes.
He's probably at home going right now, going, Neil. I'm kidding.
That's it. Y'all put the
Busy
Neil
looking
in the
his
coffin
mirror.
on this
He
one.
can't come on the show.
How Neil doesn't have a podcast called Nudie Tunes by now is beyond me.
Yeah.
Hey, we can go and make that show together, Jerry. You can produce.
Nice.
Edit the whole thing. The new Dave Z over here.
Hey, man, you got to do it. Fuck that. It's hard enough to freaking watch the movies and take notes. I can't produce too. Are you kidding? I don't have the patience. I was just trying to make a little thing that you guys are going to hear later, a phone call that I received from someone who's in one of the movies we're going to talk about tonight, and I kind of had to edit it a little bit because sometimes you have to edit. And even doing that, my wife and I almost had a fucking knock him out, drag out fight for freaking 15 minutes just over me having to edit that for a few minutes. So.
You know what, Dave? Next time, just send it to me and I'll do it for you.
There you go.
I've already heard the horror stories from the previous wife. I don't know if we need that to happen again.
No, it's all good. You'll see when I play it. You'll get you'll respect what I did. Hopefully, yeah. So Brandon is not going to be here. We love you, B. Hopefully you're back soon.
And I just did get a couple of texts. The audience thanks you for not being here.
Yeah, Brandon, I love you, but if they offer me as a replacement, I'm gonna take it. My Saturday nights are open.
Yeah.
We can't make it we can't make it official because you're the patron, and we have so many things. We put it up on the page. We have so many things that people have picked out. We just figured that the people that are paying, that are helping us here, that are patrons, they want to hear Brandon do the show. They don't want to, you know what I mean? And out of respect for that, we're not going to do anything that the patrons have chosen on a show like this. We're just going to, tonight we're talking about fun movies. We have friends here, and we're just going to have fun. Matter of fact, the movies are Night of the Creeps and My Bloody Valentine, the original. Fun shit. That's how I look at it. We're just,
Christian looks like he's at a convenience store and a white lady is just going crazy because her coffee's cold. Like, have you ever looked at him when he's listening? He's just like almost in a shock and awe state, but it's very mild. Like he doesn't know how to react.
He's like, I can't believe I'm podcasting with Dave.
Still,
I can't either, man.
4 years in,
I got luck. Yeah.
I'm always like that. I don't know where to look. There's a camera right here. I'm like, what's going on?
Would it help you if I took my shirt off?
I don't think so.
I'm only 147 pounds. It'll look great.
You can do it. The patrons want to see it, maybe.
Yeah.
You can
Was
do
that
it.
a level?
They can pay for that.
You know what? I will come on here and take my shirt off for the Exploding Heads patron. Make it a tier, and I'll come and do a whole show topless.
Shirtless Jerry.
It's a new tier, and if Jeremy wants to make his own tier where he's topless, we'll see which one makes the most money.
Oh. Nice.
How about a tier to keep his clothes on? I'll give extra money for that.
Venom, you better be careful because I will just start sending you nudes.
Oh, damn it.
Speaking of Jeremy and beating somebody, we did it. We did, and believe me, I'm not here to brag about it because I'm not one for that. But he was the one that fired the shot and said, we could never overtake 22 shots in the patrons. And it only took a month, and we did it. So fuck you, Jeremy.
You know what? Jeremy always fires the first shots because he's the one that started the war between me and him. I didn't start it. He did, just like he started the war with y'all on Patreon.
Right.
Oh, he doesn't even listen to his shows. Yeah, I don't even think he listens to his own show.
No.
I don't think he does. I agree.
I take the show and edit him out and then listen to
it. He's too busy getting coffee for directors.
But it's true. Like, I mean, I was just listening to their show today, and they were talking about that a bit. But it was great how Moods would edit in like little shut up sound bites in there. It was great.
I haven't heard the newest one, but I know the last one they had snoring during Jeremy's solo reviews.
That was great.
I'm very familiar with that snoring, too. Did you guys know who that was?
Mike Merriman.
Yes, sir. I'm very familiar with that snore.
That was the Merriman snore? I didn't.
That's
I knew that he fell. Oh, I knew that he fell asleep. I was even there that night. It was for the Joe Bob thing. Oh, I didn't know that it was really a snore. I just figured it was a soundbite that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought it was just a sound, but I thought it was from the Stern Show, actually. That's hilarious.
No, he's not Alex Edwards. Come on now.
This is true. Oh, wow. That's great. Thanks to the patrons for helping us beat Jeremy. It's not us against 22 shots. It was us against Jeremy because he talks shit. So even if it's just for a month, we're happy to do it, right?
Yeah. Done.
Yeah. So we love you all. And we'll talk more about that next show. We don't want to get into that tonight. We're just loosey-goosey. We're just hanging out. So We're going to do those 2 movies. We're going to talk about a topic in the middle that we talked about on the page the other day that I think might be interesting. And that's about it. I don't know. So,
Dave, what's your shirt? It looks like it says Battle Brazil, and it looks like a Godzilla shirt. And I'm like, there's no way he has a Godzilla shirt. Okay, it's 2 people lovingly looking to each other, depressed, probably listening to The Cure. Battle Royale. Oh, he's taking off his pants. All right.
Tan pantsless. Yeah. That's a new tier.
I'm gonna show you his pepperoni.
$30, right? $30 to see. Forget it. I'm gonna try to be clean. I'm gonna try to be clean here.
Why?
Yeah.
Why tonight?
Yeah, I was about to say, you have Christian's hair here. Why would you try to be clean?
Yeah.
For the other listeners, I don't know. I'm trying to be an ambassador of not being as dirty as I used to be on the mic. So.
No, I called someone a dirty birdie the other day because of you.
Nice. Who'd you call a dirty birdie?
My fiance.
Nice. Did you say it while you were in the sack?
No. We were at work, and we have this joke where she'll come and hit on me as if she's not my girlfriend, and I'll like deny her and like call her garbage or a whore or something like that in a funny way. And I was just like, "Listen here, you dirty birdie. I'm engaged." Like I said it like really proper. I was like, "Listen here, you dirty birdie. I am engaged."
Nice, dude.
No, ma'am. And I walked away. I happened to be listening to
Sorry,
Exploding Heads
ma'am.
at the time.
Right? Oh, that's great.
So,
Where do you work? It's like Arby's or something.
come on. I've never seen the inside of your bedroom. No, I work at Sam's Club.
Okay.
I don't have those in Canada, but it's a
we did
store
for
where
a
people
day.
shop.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that in French, but I'll hope you understand.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm not familiar with consumerism.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Y'all are French Canadians, and you're like French Italian, so you rob people with a baguette or something. I don't know really what you do.
Your racism's all over the place.
That's it.
It's light racism.
Put it this way: when we go to the doctor, we don't have to pay.
I am jealous of that, except for all
me
the
too.
snowbirds that come here and then tell me, yeah, I got to come here for a hip replacement. And I'm like, why? Why are you paying money here? And then lines are too long or something. They got to take a number. So y'all's healthcare insurance is like our DMVs.
It's a catch-22. Some people complain about that because they might have to wait. I've never once had that problem. No one that that I'm related to or that I know has had that issue. But yes, it does exist where by going to the States and being able to pay gets you faster service. But tell me, is that a better system? I don't know how we got on this, but
I owe like $20,000 fucking dollars for my hospital visit in October.
See, that's nuts, man. That is fucking crazy.
They charged me like fucking
Holy
$3,000 because someone had to watch me for like fucking 3 days under suicide watch. I'm like, they didn't have to do anything. They had to fucking sit there. Why are you paying? Why do I have to pay $3,000 because they got to sit there?
Wow.
Maybe they heard your show.
That's why I was in there. They're like, we heard your show.
They're like, that'll
About
teach
your
him
help.
to threaten that again.
But fuck, that's what I'm saying, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be
it's
bankrupt. Done.
I'd move to Canada, but I don't like cold weather. So
Fuck
we're
the snow.
still getting it, man. Holy smoke.
Right. Me too.
I don't know. Well, yeah. But Fahrenheit, I only talk Fahrenheit when I'm talking pool temperatures. Otherwise, it's all Celsius over here.
Wait a minute. Stop. This is a thing. You're trying to tell me that in Canada, when you have a pool and you dip that thermometer in the pool and you pull it out and it says 78.
I've always said
say 78.
I do. And admittedly, I'm not kidding you. I'll be
just you.
no, I don't know if it's just me, but I'll be like, yep, the pool's 80 today. Or I don't have a pool anymore, but pool's 80, 85, whatever it may be. But if I'm talking about like the day-to-day weather, I'm like, oh, it's like 25 degrees out. Celsius. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the
wow.
French Canadian in me.
There's no Canada like French Canada. Yeah, man. That's great. Well, let's talk about Canada. It's our first movie. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll regroup, and we'll talk about our first movie because it's Canadian. So how's that? My buddy
What a
Bill.
segue. Holy.
Canadian classic. That's why I'm here. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Thanks, patrons. And fuck you, Jeremy. Okay.
You're in the Hall of Fuckers now.
hey, if the Hall of Fuckers important, I am the very first inductee. So fucking royalty.
I think
Indeed.
I'm
As I'm
number 2.
concerned.
Aren't you, Nudie, aren't you in the Hall of Fuckers too?
Yeah, I think I was number 2.
Yeah. The other, it started with the other guy.
I invented the other guy.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, that's right, you did. You know what we should do? We should make a T-shirt for the patrons that says "Fuck Jeremy" on it.
Oh, you
That would be
should.
awesome.
Why not? Just for
That
that
would
reason.
be awesome.
I call him Derek's replacement.
Oh, we can start a hashtag Bring Back Derek.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, listen, we'll take a quick break. We'll regroup. We'll get into some Canadian stuff. So we'll see you on the flips.
Hello, have you ever heard of MSK 3000? Yeah, well, we ain't them. But we are movie fans who like to drink and talk shit about our favorite movies. So join me, your host Nudie, along with my co-host Jake the Snake, and special guest stars as we dissect our favorite, or maybe not so favorite movies, on the NFW podcast, otherwise known as No Fucking Way. You can catch us on Heartophilia, and also at NFW_podcast on Twitter, or NFWpodcast@yahoo.com.
Nice.
Jerry Herring fucks trainings, that's all you missed.
Nice.
This is our tagline for this show.
Oh,
Jerry fucks trannies.
That's his new podcast.
Jerry hates action. Jerry fucks
Jerry loves trannies.
He still hates action, but he loves trannies.
Hey, trainees make the world go round.
So what do you think, Kenneth?
Hey, don't knock it. I've been to Brazil.
Yeah, exactly. See? Best of both worlds. I'm just telling you. And don't ask Kenneth because he's not into anything unless it's dead. Then he's inside of it.
Oh, what about a dead tranny?
Oh, he would be inside of it. We had a whole conversation on our way to Days of the Dead Atlanta about the morality of necrophiliacs. And the thing we were talking about, 3 necrophiliacs go into a graveyard. And one's like, all right, I'm going to go fuck this lady. And another one's like, all right, I'm going to go fuck this kid. And the other two looking like, what the fuck? That's fucked up. And then the third guy goes, all right, I got to go find a dog. And it brings up, even when you're doing something as disgusting as fucking a dead body, there are levels of morality to it.
Yeah.
You can edit that out. I don't care. We leave it in. I don't care. I think we already talked
Look
about
at
it
Dave's,
on Kill the
look at
Cast.
Dave's face. It's like, what the happened? I went up to piss and I come back to.
He leaves for 5 minutes.
I'm just confused. It's okay, though. It's good.
So, My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah. My Bloody Valentine.
And we're back.
Yes, and we're back. Yes, indeed. Oh, this is weird. Brandon's not here to read the synopsis. That's fucked up. Every single show we've ever done, Brandon's read the synopsis for a. You know what? Out of respect for Brandon, I say nobody reads it. I say that our listeners, number one, we're going to spoil everything in the movies we're going to talk tonight, and we are going to spoil many things in our discussion we're going to have in between the two movies. So it's a real spoiler-filled show. We're going to have some fun. And that's it. My Bloody Valentine from 1981. If you don't know it, just stop, go watch the movie, and come back. And we're going to spoil it. If you don't know it, I don't know. I'm not going to say to listen to the wrong show. We're happy to have you. But I think you should go check it out. And maybe not everybody's as high on the movie as I am, but let's find out. For we know this. When we did our top 50 slasher show, me, Christian, and Brandon,
Yep.
it was my number 9 movie. I rated it a 9 out of 10. These two guys, Brandon and Christian, I don't know what number they had it at, but I know they both gave it a 9.5. So it's in the Hall of Fame for us.
I'll have to check. I think it was very high for me. Yeah, it was my number 6.
There you go. And like I said, it was really high. Brandon gave it a 9.5. He doesn't just throw out 9.5s like fucking candy. So it's probably in his top 5. Or who knows? But you know, so
throws out 9.5s when you two throw out 9.5s.
It's the sausage fest.
So yeah, geez.
81.
81, the year of the slasher, the best year in horror in somebody's opinion, at least mine. Interesting.
Yo, did
going back
everyone
and
watch
forth on
the uncut version with the extra 3 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
You kind of have to at this point because although on DVD, I believe on DVD and on Blu-ray, both ones that have been issued in the last like 15 years, the option is there. I know that the Blu-ray is now out of print and it's hard to come by for people that didn't snag it right when it came out, but I'm pretty sure since it was released on anything besides VHS, they gave the option. So hopefully everyone's watched the right version.
You know, it was the third Blu-ray I ever bought. I technically bought it with I bought it with Goodfellas and The Crow on a Black Friday for $4 each.
Wow.
years
Nice.
ago.
Nice deals. Wow. Does everybody own this movie in some way?
Yes.
Multiple
Unfortunately, no, sir. I do not. I watched it on Vudu.
Oh, okay.
Hoodoo?
Mm-hmm.
You
I
do?
watched it today on Vudu, so
Yep.
it's not the uncut version though, unfortunately. But
Oh, it's not, but you've seen the uncut version.
oh yeah, I own the
Oh,
uncut
yeah.
version. It was too lazy to put it on my Blu-ray players. I just watched it on Vudu.
That's what it's come to. He's too
Yes.
lazy to walk a few steps, open a box, and put
Literally, my
something in a
TV is
slot.
like right there, and my movies are right there.
Holy shit! God bless you, buddy.
I've seen it 100 times, so yeah.
It's a
So you
great
love it.
slasher. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's in my
This-
top 10.
I think a lot of people, it's grown on a lot of people as well. But when I first saw it back in the day, I liked it. But I think the cut version kind of hindered my overall enjoyment. And then just in probably the last, well, I don't know, the last decade, it's just sort of grown on me.
You know, I'll say this. My rating of it went, I don't really rate movies, but my enjoyment of the movie went way higher this time. Because I probably haven't watched it in, I don't know, 8 years. Whenever that Blu-ray first came out, I watched it then, and that's it. I have not watched it since. So watching it this time, I didn't mind the integrating of the new scenes. I actually thought they looked really cool. There was something weird about how kind of grainy and whited, like the way they were lighted because of the gray and everything. It kind of went to a grindhouse feel. It made me feel like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to see this. And it made me enjoy the film even more.
I agree. I get that sentiment completely. Yeah, I mean, at first when you see something like that, it's a little bit jarring to see the different, the quality in it. And you're like, okay, well, obviously this was ripped from VHS. Or so it's not that horrible at all, don't get me wrong. But there's an obvious drop in quality. And at first, the first time I got the DVD and I noticed them, I was excited to get those scenes because I'd never seen them. Much like Christian, I saw it when I was young, and I liked it, and it was just another slasher. And I was like, well, I wish it would have been more gory. And then when this came out and I saw it that way, it was very noticeable on the DVD. But I didn't care. I was happy to have the gore. And then that elevated it, of course, being a gore hound and a slasher fan. But here's the funny thing. I'm to the point now with this movie that I think it holds up in the regular version without the gore.
Really?
I agree.
There's charm to it. There's a charm to this movie.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Granted, I'm a gore hound, and every fucking time I sit down and watch this movie, I'm gonna put on the uncut version. But I'm saying if you take that stuff out, this movie did have a reputation before anyone saw the uncut version, because we didn't get to see it until the 2000s. You know what I mean? So this was still a movie that people discussed, people talked about, you read about it, My Bloody Valentine. It wasn't like a forgotten movie. People still referenced it when they talked about slashers they loved from the 80s. So it was popular even without the gore. So that's saying something.
And it's one of those movies that we talk about where we're like, oh, it got cut so much by the censors. But this time we actually got to see at least how much did they say? Was it 6 minutes or 9 minutes that were cut out? I think they said 9 minutes was cut out, but some of it was just stupid dialogue and stuff to trim the movie. And then like 6 minutes of it was actual gore. And we got 3 minutes of that gore back. The big thing we're missing apparently is the drill scene. That is gone. Mm-hmm. But it's movies like this one and then Friday the 13th Part 7 and Event Horizon where there's these mythical uncut scenes that we never get to see. But with My Bloody Valentine, we got it.
Yeah.
We got the
Friday
lost
2.
version of it.
Friday 2 is what we want, right?
Oh, don't I wish.
Honestly, Event Horizon's my biggest one just because I want to see how crazy it was from what they've talked about.
And we can't see it? Event Horizon is
they said it all ended up on the cutting floor and is gone. No clue.
So bizarre because that's like a more modern film,
right?
Than something from like the obviously
and
the early 80s. Right?
And it's a movie that like everyone loves because I didn't watch it until last year when Kenneth found out that I had never seen it, and he called me an idiot and made me watch it. So I watched it because a lot of times like you have those friends that are like because Kenneth is the first person to set me down to watch Lucio Fulci Zombie, Cannibal Holocaust. And he's the one that made me watch In the Mouth of Madness. So he's always one of those people. If he tells me to watch something, most of the times I'll watch it as long as it's not porn, because he also is always recommending me porn.
I actually lost a girlfriend because of Event Horizon. I saw that.
You're gonna see it because of porn.
No, I've gained a couple of girlfriends because of porn, but that's a story for another
You've
podcast.
seen his porno tape, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I saw this in theaters with the girl I was dating at the time, and it was a new relationship. I didn't really know a whole lot about her. This was kind of like my feeling out process, and she couldn't take it. She walked out of the theater about half, I'd say, no, less than half. I'd say about a half hour into the movie. She walked out, and I did not follow her. I stayed in the theater. I finished the fucking movie. I didn't care. When I got out of the movie, when I got out of the movie, she was long gone, and yeah, I got a fuck you page. Yes, this is the day of pagers.
Beep, beep, beep.
Oh,
And she just texted me "fuck you," and that was the last time I saw her. So
Jerry's like, I pay for the damn popcorn. I'm not leaving.
really, man, I paid for her ticket, and she wastes it like that. That's terrible.
Yeah.
yeah, you don't need that type of negativity in your life, man. Yeah.
The
Good
truth
riddance.
was he couldn't get the popcorn bucket off his penis.
It took that long.
I gotta wait till the
Theater
theater
didn't do
clears out.
buckets. They did bags. The bag doesn't hold up as well as the bucket, so yeah.
So I'm guessing this is like 93 era, sometime like that.
97, isn't it?
97.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
for
sorry,
Event
I-
Horizon, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Event Horizon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were
Oh,
talking about My Bloody Valentine. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wait, why would it be
I was
93
7.
if it was My Bloody Valentine?
Well, maybe that was the first time he saw it at a
Oh.
theater, I'm saying, because he does live in sunny California. Maybe he didn't. Maybe they happened to play it at a theater in California, and he happened to go with a girl. That's what I was thinking. Okay, I got confused. I'm sorry. So Mr. Venom, what about My Bloody Valentine? When did you see
My
that?
Bloody Valentine. I did end up seeing in the theater, though it wasn't an opening weekend. I was only 11 at the time, but I had these cousins, these 3 older cousins. All of them were female. They saw the movie and absolutely loved it, and they started describing it to me, and I'm like. About halfway through, I'm like, it was almost like a podcast. Like they were literally describing every single scene, characters, personalities, everything. And about
Better than
halfway
us.
through, yeah, probably. And about halfway through, I stopped them, and I'm like, all right, stop. I want to see this. So the following weekend, they snuck me into a theater because this theater was one of those big national cinemas. So they actually checked IDs. So I couldn't
They
actually.
always check no matter what.
Yeah,
That's what sucked.
if I went to the more independent theaters, they really didn't, like the Strand or the Wiltern or something. But if you go to one of the big national chains, yeah, they almost always checked.
You know,
So
if you blow them, they'll let you in for free, right?
Probably,
Not in
but
LA.
I was 11 years old. I'm pretty sure it's illegal for me to blow anybody.
You Catholic?
Escaping Neverland, anyone?
But yeah, like I said, the following weekend, went to see it, absolutely fell in love with it. I've always had a little bit of an issue with the ending, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, otherwise, this movie from first watch, I absolutely fell in love with it. I'm not nearly the slasher fan that Dave is, but I would probably still have this top 10 or 15 if I did a slasher list.
You saw it in the theater, man.
Awesome.
That's
I'm an old
awesome.
fuck.
So
Yes.
you guys luck out. Here's where the States is better. The only time the States is better.
Yeah, the
Your
only time.
R-rated, your R rating means that you can go in with someone over 18. Not in Canada. In Canada, it's like, nope. Now, this is back in the day. Our rating systems changed a little bit. Now we've got, but even for restricted, it still means if you're under 18, you cannot go see it in the
You
theater.
could always blow them, you know.
Nowadays, that works.
Yeah, I have a feeling it doesn't matter what country you're in. If you blow them,
Yeah.
you'll get in, regardless
Unless
of
you're
the
terrible
rules.
at it.
Those damn Mounties.
No, if you're terrible at it, they'll be like, you know what, just go ahead. Just, go ahead. Don't
I'll finish
come
this
back.
myself. Just go watch your damn movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just charge you for the popcorn if you're bad at it.
Jerry's like, I'm learning. Give me a break.
Oh,
I'll
dude,
get
by
better,
11,
I
I had that
promise.
down packed. I'm from Alabama.
Oh, nice.
Woo!
You had cousins to practice on then. That's different.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen my facial hair? It grows in what I like to call Alabama trailer park. Very nice.
I know he looks like fucking Jeff Galooly over there. Holy shit!
Jeff Galooly.
I can't wait for you to grow your beard back, Dave. I like Jedi Dave.
I do too, but unfortunately, Irene does not. My wife doesn't fucking dig it. She likes what I got right now. A little scruff action, a little rugged. But when it becomes hippie, which is really what I am, she don't dig it. So, I mean...
She's like, I want you to look homeless, just not California homeless.
I like the Michael Myers Dave.
Yeah.
Me too.
The H2 Dave.
I love it. Dude, I love it. And my wife's from California. She just don't fucking dig it, man. She's from San Francisco. You think that she'd be down with a hippie look, but no, it doesn't work. So look what I did. See, I cut my hair. Look, I took a fucking razor. I said, boom, I'm gonna take away my hair and my beard. Are you happy? But
oh, so that was by choice?
Yeah, that was because I was lazy.
He took a razor to it, guys.
Yeah.
Well, no, not a razor. I took like a Brutus the Barber beefcake thing and just
The shears.
Yeah.
I think you should be the next Vader time.
Sign me up. So yeah, let me tell you something about this film. It's something that's lost. And I watched this movie. My daughter was watching it with me yesterday, and I had to point it out to her. I said, "Come here." I go, "Look at this." The title card in the beginning, when you get that little thing and it says "My Bloody Valentine" with the hearts and the blood dripping. What a lost art! The beginning with the title card and the end with the Ballad of Harry Warden, just great things that you didn't see them on all the movies in '81, but you saw it in this movie. And if you're gonna see it, it's gonna be in early '80s. What a shame that's gone the way of the dinosaur. You would think that everyone now that tries to, replicate 1980s horror would think to do that. Isn't it strange that nobody has? Unless
All the Boys Love Mandy Lane is the only one that I can think of that did that. And now, and funny enough, that's not a traditional slasher as the movie progresses on, but it's set up kind of as one. And I remember that title card, and it reminded me of an old school slasher. But that's it. You're right. Like all the Final Girls and the one we just did a couple of episodes ago that I forgot from last year.
Oh, You Might Be the Killer.
You Might Be the Killer. Thank you. And
tons of them. Ruin Me, Charlie's Farm, Lost After Dark. Tons of movies that we've seen the past 3 or 4 years that they want to do the 80s vibe, slasher vibe especially. No one does that, and it's such an easy thing. I want that. I mean, I'm sure I could go to eBay right now and type in My Bloody Valentine T-shirt, and you could probably see that logo on one. But sitting here right now talking about it, I'm like, yes, I want that. It's so cool. It's just, I don't know. I miss that.
I agree with you, especially when I think about that, that title card, because it has a 70s charm to it, even though it's 81. It reminds me of a title card from the 70s because the next year you have the title card for The Thing, which looks way more futuristic, even though it's only the next year. It's almost, but you're right. No one does title cards like that anymore.
Right? What a lost art.
It was almost animated. Yeah. I mean, although title cards are typically graphics, but that looked like an actual cartoon, like an animation.
Well, wasn't it? Wasn't there blood,
it was. There
dripping?
Was, actually. I mean,
yeah, so there was a little animation thrown in. Man, I love it. That's something about the charm of this movie, almost like Friday 2. And you know how I blow Friday 2. And
Friday 1. It's got banjo in it as well, man. Anything with banjo is fine by me.
Banjo is great, but what
Banjos
I'm saying...
Banjos must mean something different in Canada.
Yeah, I don't think of Deliverance when I hear banjos.
Okay, I do.
Yeah, my ass puckers up instantly.
Jerry's opens.
Yeah.
Says the guy who has the banjo.
Feed me. Says the guy that has the banjo.
Feed me more.
Yeah.
But it's the camaraderie in this film.
Yep.
This feels, Valentine's Bluff feels like a real place, like Haddonfield kind of does, and I know, Christian, you love Friday 1 more than 2, but Friday 2 has that feeling to me, the camaraderie with everybody and the way they carry on. It feels believable, and you feel like you wish you could be there and be engaging in those conversations and knowing these characters. This is a rare movie, especially there's a lot of slashers. This is one, like I said earlier, it's the charm. There's just something about this film that I can't put into words. It's something you experience. Maybe I'm blowing it too hard, but I love the film. When I sit down and watch it, it's an experience. I feel like I'm there. And it's charm is the best way I could put it. I can't really explain it.
The characters are likable. Sorry for cutting you off, but I think that's what that's it. You actually care. The fact that there's a little love triangle which could have been very cheesy, but the guys are like, look, we've got a problem here. What are we going to do about it? And like, they actually they don't just fight, although it does lead to that in a couple of scenes. They're trying to work it out, and it works. So it actually propels us above a lot of what else was coming out at that time frame, because you, like I said, you actually care. So there's charm, banjo, gore, and a fast pace. I'm with Mr. Venom a little bit that it's a little problematic at the end just from a timing issue of the reveal, but
Yeah.
oh well.
I agree with you about the characters. I mean, the characters feel very organic. They feel, like you said, they're very likable. They're not caricatures by any stretch.
Right.
And that's when horror movies tend to lose me, when they have just absolute cartoon characters as a protagonist. And this movie just doesn't have that, which really helps it stand the test of time.
Well, they have the one cartoon character, but who's snorting cans of Sprite or ginger ale or whatever they drink up there. But because he's kept to a very minimum for really small comedic punches, it never overstays welcome. When I was watching it, I was like, I can't believe this was made in 1981. It feels way more like vicious with its kills than a lot of other movies. I think Canada might have just been ahead of their time when it came to slashers. Because even when I watch Black Christmas, I think Black Christmas is ahead of its time. And I think the same thing with My Bloody Valentine. I don't know how Canada fucked it all up eventually, but they were ahead of their time for the early horror boom.
Well, a lot of them were. There's a lot of co-productions, right? The Tax Shelter and whatnot. And that's kind of what led to Terror Train Prom Night. This and many more. So some of them are Canadian productions and some are American-Canadian co-productions. But they came up here to make movies because they got great tax benefits from it.
And what about the crazy Ralph character? I mean, that bartender was awesome. That's my favorite scene, is when he sets up the fake miner and then the real miner shows up. Yeah. That's like my favorite scene in the whole movie. I love it. And
he's so happy.
If he would have just walked away, but he's one more time he had to do it.
And best kill in the movie. Going through the jaw and then out the eyeball. Yeah. Oh my God.
And you're right about the mean, like I can understand what you're saying about the mean-spiritedness, like the viciousness. Sorry, I can understand the viciousness factor. I don't think it's mean-spirited, though, because maybe it's because of the setup of the characters. So you just care more than when they die. So it is vicious for sure. And that bartender is actually in Black Christmas as well. I've just noticed this on repeat viewings of both movies.
Wow.
And he's just one of the guys. I think he comes to the door to help with the search of like the girl or something like that. Pops up at the door in Black Christmas.
Fun Star Wars connection. Chief Newbie is the voice of Boba Fett in Boba Fett's first appearance in the cartoon of the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh, God.
Is that for real?
Dead up. Dead serious.
Oh, wow.
What?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There you go.
I thought that was very interesting. And I also want to say Hollis is the coolest character ever. Not only is he rocking a badass mustache, he manhandles TJ and Alex. Like, it looks like if Dave Z had to stop Christian and Brandon from fighting, just fucking manhandles them. It's great.
Exactly.
I love his character. You're right. All the characters in this movie are so fucking good, because even with like TJ, he's moody, but he's not too moody. Right. Axel, he's a dick, but he's not too much of a dick. Like, everyone is very realistic. They're not teenagers. These are adults, so they're more constrained with their characteristics.
And the girls were real too. Like, they weren't all models, they're normal looking women that you would think that these guys would be dating. Not
Neil was watching this movie
WB models, and I don't know. It all fit. Like Hollis, he had a chubbier girlfriend, which you would think a fat guy would have a chubbier girlfriend. It all worked out.
I thought Hollis
was a doll.
They were all good.
Yeah, I agree. Patty, I think, is the hottest girl.
Yeah,
I do.
I actually, the girl that I like in this movie doesn't even have a line. It's the girl that walks away from the jukebox when What's-Her-Face comes over to talk to TJ. I don't know if you noticed that girl, but she was stunning.
She gets pissed off. She looks pissed off that TJ starts playing that game. and ignores
Yeah.
it.
Are we
She
going to
walks
talk
away.
about Andy Dalton and his snot boogers hanging out of his nose when he was crying to the chief about his girlfriend being killed?
It's
so
called
gross.
realism.
But that's good. I love that too because
Every time I see it, I want to throw up, though. It's so gross.
Throw up.
It's so nasty. Like puke and snot and ugh.
This is
I
when
can't
you
do
can
it.
tell Nudie has never had a cocaine bender.
No.
I thought you were going to say girlfriend.
I've never done that. Hey, we know we've had one. I've had one of those at least.
Okay, Pamela Henderson doesn't count.
No, there's been pictures online, fella.
Oh yeah, because you can't pay someone for a picture. Get out of here.
Hey, you've seen my Photoshop skills.
Okay, never mind. Valid point. I let this pass. I know this because Nudie will message me with like 4 pictures. Like, hey, which one is the best?
It's true. I like to gauge them first because, but sometimes my wit doesn't catch on. So I'm like, does this one make more sense than that one?
I not to cut you guys off from your little back and forth there, but we haven't even talked about the fact that we talked Valentine's Blush, but we haven't talked about the fact of the mine. Just what a setting
Yes, sir.
for the film and how that adds like another element to it altogether. I love it. I've always loved that aspect of it as well. The backstory is done pretty cool, and the fact that they bring the climax back to it as well. I think that's another sort of quote unquote character of the film, and definitely elevates it.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, the settings look amazing. The town looks very small and homey. The mines look awesome. I enjoy the hell out of like just looking at the mine. The scene where Alex Harry Warden, the Guns N' Roses Harry Warden, is going through the mine and just like hitting the lights.
Yeah.
It just looks, that's just such a fucking awesome scene.
Yeah,
Yes.
man. Oh.
It was a great setting. I actually wish I would have seen more of it. Like, I wish that rec room that they used was actually in the mine.
Yeah, weird.
One thing that I did not like is when they're all like, let's go down to the mine. I'm like, do you see what you're wearing? It is February in Canada. You're going to tell me you're going to take your ass down there in that cold mine, because it's got to be freezing down there.
Oh, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, they took some blankets.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. The one couple took the blankets so they could have sex to create body heat. And, I mean, he really drilled her, so it worked out. But still, it's too
Literally.
fucking cold. I am not trying to get my dick sucked in a mine on Valentine's Day in February in Canada. No. I mean, Christian, February anywhere in Canada.
March. I'm freezing my nuts off.
Word. Yeah. Me too. Right over the border. Right.
It's crazy. It was like -5 today. Celsius. No, it actually went up to 8. So I felt a little bit of warmth.
It's fucking 90 over here today.
Yeah. I heard it was shit last week.
I went to a baseball game today.
Yeah, this guy was watching baseball. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Damn, you're white. Baseball. Holy shit.
Oh, he's white or Dominican, one or the other.
Or
No habla.
So I got a question for y'all. For the ending, whenever I watch like stuff like Criminal Minds, they always talk about something that sets someone off, something that could be a trigger that made them snap. Do you think that the Valentine's Day dance is what set Alex off, or do you think it's TJ coming back as a stressor on his relationship that caused snap?
That's it. I was thinking about that today as I was watching, and I'm like, if TJ doesn't come back to town, does this happen? And I have to say no. It's all about the struggle for Sarah and getting. However, it is kind of, well, I guess he was doing it just to do it, to get a heart. But in the beginning, when you see him kill that first girl, and you find out later, obviously, who the killer is, you know what I mean? You're like, well, what's he doing? You're looking back on it after the film is over. You're like, well, he was cheating on this girl, on Sarah with this girl. But was he just doing it to get the heart?
Attempted cheating.
Yeah.
There was no technical cheating.
Just stroking of the mask.
That's
Yeah.
true. She did have a good snorkel game. Woo.
Yeah, if a chick strokes my mask and I may happen to put a pickaxe through her chest, I mean, is that really cheating? Did I penetrate her? Technically, no.
Let's even go back further. So she was already undressed to then put the mining suit on.
Oh,
they
that
go down
is
into the mine.
Using her underwear. Yeah.
Start kink shaming, okay? People who like to dress up, okay?
Yeah, only Jerry can kink shame.
No,
Yeah.
I don't kink shame. You can ask your Hard to Kill podcast co-host, Josh. He knows I don't kink shame.
I wasn't kink shaming anything. It just meant that they were getting hot and heavy somewhere else, I guess. And they said, "Hold up, let's put these suits on and head down into the mine."
Allegedly.
Or she changed in the rec room where they had the party. They could have been in there. Let's go downstairs. Baby, you go in the kitchen and change. I'll go in this bathroom and change, and I'll meet you downstairs in a few minutes.
That is one thing to me that the movie is actually a little confused about, because when they show his flashback when he just randomly dazes out for fucking 5 seconds, they show him watching his father get killed. Which, Jesus, how many horror movies do this where they do flashback where the children see one of their parents get killed?
Quite a bit in the 80s.
Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Like,
The thing-
this was something that growing up I thought was a real issue, and I would just wake up one day and see my dad get killed, and I'm like, fuck, now I got to become a slasher later on in life. And much like Quicksand, it's not that big of a deal. Turns out.
Not nearly as big an issue as they made out.
Yes, exactly. But so he has that flashback, and I'm like, so because to me it seems like the bigger stressor would be the fact that his girlfriend's ex-love is back in town, and that's what makes him do it. But then they had that flashback, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe it is a stressor that reminded him, but that doesn't make any real sense. Is it the fact that both are happening around the same time? It's one thing that I wish the movie was a little bit clearer on.
But I can buy that. I think you called it, Jerry. I think it is a combo of that. That would set somebody
The heart
off,
is what
I think.
sets him off. That's what makes him, like, he sees that heart, does the and then sticks her onto the pickaxe,
But
right?
the problem with that, because that makes it seems like he either is not in love with his girlfriend so much so that the ex coming back would be as much of a stressor, unless he's one of those assholes that's like, I can cheat, but you can't. Okay, mob rules.
Well, from a looking back retro standpoint, it's probably a bit of a fault or a problem. But from a setup standpoint, an entertainment piece, it's fine. But yeah, to think back at it, you're right. There's something obviously that doesn't sort of jive there.
Yeah, I mean, great opening intro. I love every slasher movie should start off with a kill, because you know you're about to go the next 20 to 30 minutes without a kill. Start off with one. Let me have it right away. And then do your exposition and story until we get to the slasher part. It's a lot of your best slasher movies start off that way. And with this one, that's my only real problem, is it kind of hurts the Axel character from my understanding. But I mean, I think the movie does play on both sides of it, being the Valentine's Day dance and the ex-boyfriend coming back.
But I would say it's probably more the boyfriend coming back, because why did he wait this long?
Because there was no Valentine's Day dance. They did not
was the
have
first
a
year they were
Valentine's
having
Day
it.
dance for 20 years.
Right. But if he's genuinely psychotic because of the death of his father, wouldn't he just go out and kill every Valentine's Day?
No, because Valentine's Day is essentially banned in this place.
Other
so
than the
no
name
one
of the
does
town.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Other than the name of that, every morning he wakes up. I just call it bluff. It's just bluff. That's all it is. I don't know what you're fucking talking about. What is that? V? I don't even. V is not even a real letter. It's just bluff.
But you're right. Yeah, I mean, but that's a slasher trope. And again, this was at the beginning of the craze, so it's a little bit more forgivable. But yes, if we want to be critical of the film, you're absolutely right, Mr. It's so weird to call you Mr. Venom, but I'm calling you Mr. Venom.
Like Mr. Watson.
Sexy if you want.
I could call you Sexy Venom. Yeah.
Venom's point actually backs up more that the relationship stressor and the combination with them bringing back the Valentine's Day dance, both of them together make this happen. Because I legit don't think he went to go cheat on his girlfriend. I think he was setting up where he was going to get his first heart with a lot lizard. I don't know what they call the coal mine version of a lot lizard, but in Florida they just call him Nudie's mistress. But he was just doing that to get the
I like
heart.
that one.
Yeah. So
My question is, when did that cold open occur? Was it literally the same day that the movie starts, or was it like farther back, maybe a few weeks previously? Like, they don't really give us any context on when it happens.
they don't. So I assume it happens within a week of the movie opening, because how long are you going to be able to? Well, you know what? The heart is bloody.
Looks
In
good.
the Valentine's
Yes.
Day
That's
chocolate
true.
box, the heart is bloody.
Yeah.
So it had to happen within a day, unless he also was there with a cup, got some blood, put it in a thermos. I'm gonna dump this out later. You know, he could have done that technically.
Some ragu.
A little sauce. Yes. And how about that scene? That scene, I don't know if I'm fucked up. Well, I know I am fucked up, but I mean, as far as my sense of humor, every time when the freaking, not the chief, is it the chief or the mayor? Hold on.
Which
It's
character?
the mayor.
Yeah, the
When-
mayor got the first heart. Yeah.
When the mayor opens it up, his
Hold up.
reaction, and he's like, it can't be happening again.
Is
and
he the
closes
mayor?
his
I know
eyes.
he owns the coal mine.
He owns the
Not
coal.
The
again.
mayor?
He's TJ's. He's
No, that was a
TJ's
different
dad.
Yeah,
TJ's father.
he owns the coal mine.
He's
But
the
I don't know if
mayor,
he's the mayor or not.
No,
Well,
no,
they
no,
called him the
he's a-
mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they gave him the heart, they said, "Mayor, we have this heart for you." Somebody.
Oh, I missed that part. I just
Yeah, yeah.
associated him with the guy who owns the coal mine.
Yeah, Hannigan, Mayor Hannigan.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yep, it's him. And
I was too focused on the relationship.
that's fair. But the reaction that he gives, does anyone else laugh
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It
All right.
reminded me of the Mel from Sleepaway Camp.
Yes.
I had him and I let him go.
Yes.
Little bastard.
My- One of my issues was it felt like the mayor and the chief just accepted the fact that Harry Warden was back in town so easily. Like, no investigation. Even the coroner was like, "Oh, Harry Warden's back." It's like, really? No, we're not going to investigate this at all?
They couldn't get through.
If
They couldn't get that phone call.
Haddonfield had this mayor and this sheriff, Donald Pleasance would have been in and out like this. He would have been like, Michael Myers is back. Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, you're right. He is back.
I need proof.
They tried a little bit, but the mental home was closed for the weekend, remember? Had to wait till Monday to get the results.
Is he in or
It's
not?
Canada. It's Canada
Yeah.
for you, right?
She didn't know if he was there or not.
Yeah, on the weekends they just let all the mental patients go home.
What about those stray dogs in 2 times in the movie where they chased the police truck the first time and then they almost bit the chief when he was getting the bloody heart off the ground?
You can kind of see the actor kind of looks a little bit like, is this dog going to attack me?
Yeah, he looked like he was going to bite him. It looked like
That
he was
dog
a
came really close to his leg.
Yeah.
Now, does Canada still use stray dogs as trash men, or did they finally change?
You're killing me. You're killing me up here.
Speaking of Canada, doesn't you'll know for sure? Doesn't TJ remind you a little bit of Bret Hart? Or is it just-
A little bit.
One
Yeah.
of the heart,
Talks like
yeah.
a boot. He says a boot a couple times.
He looks like Bret Hart, and obviously he talks like him because he's Canadian. But I mean, he always reminds me of Bret Hart since the first time I saw this movie. That's just the first time, but since
Are you saying all Canadians look alike? Fucking racist.
Yeah,
I
Christian
take
looks like
offense
Bret
to
Hart too.
Yeah.
I can never tell the difference between Christian and Moods. I don't know.
Not like a bit of similarity.
Oh,
I'll bring it back to the movie again. Or actually, I'll bring
He
it back to the
hasn't
movie.
brick any
poster.
shock top tonight.
Yeah, no, none at all. Nudie, you brought up Ragu. Every time I look at that movie poster, which scared the shit out of me as a kid, by the way, because the eyes through the mask freaked me out as a kid. But the blood looks like freaking Ragu on the mask.
It's a great movie poster.
But I love that poster. I
Yeah.
love it, and it's always haunted me. And that was one of the ones, because the video store I went to had the Maniac poster and the My Bloody Valentine side by side, and it scared the shit out of me. But I was intrigued, and that's what probably started the fascination at a very young age. Is my fear is what drew me in. Right? And so the other thing I want to bring up was Paul Zaza did the soundtrack. It was the musical score. And he did a lot of Canadian films. He did Prom Night. He did Porky's. He did A Christmas Story. He did this, Curtains, and a ton of others. But that's just a quick snapshot of his resume.
Hold up, Brandon just called in. He said he wished someone would pull curtains on you.
Meat Curtains.
meat curtains, exactly. Oh shit!
So, Y'all know when I was messing around today doing a little bit of extra research, do you know what tie the remake of this movie has with the next movie we're doing?
Wait a minute.
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins.
Yep, Tom Atkins.
Yep, motherfucking Atkins. Yes.
The best.
Absolutely. By the way, all right, now I may as well segue into it.
I was trying to keep it cryptic for you.
No, I got a phone call.
I blew it.
Oh, okay.
I got a phone call from Tom Atkins today. I did some reaching out. I talked to a few people and told them the movies that I was doing and everything else. And hold on, let me pull it up. But Tom Atkins, I was able to have Tom Atkins actually contact this podcast. And I am going to play that for you right now. Tom Atkins, ladies and gentlemen, where the hell are you?
Don't hit the delete button.
Delete.
Oh, no, it's not here.
Delete all.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, as I was saying, it's fucking notes all over again.
I do have it, I promise. Here it is. Okay, hold up. Let me just...
This is Tom Atkins. Here's a message for the exploding heads. I know you guys enjoy doing this show, but oh my God. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it! Stop it!
Can you believe it?
It's weird. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. I don't
Really?
know.
They told me it was Tom Atkins.
Seamless edited.
Maybe that's the one he does for everybody. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that on another podcast.
That almost led to Dave's second divorce.
I can't edit this fucking thing. Get the fuck out of the house.
Here's what I'm confused about is why did editing that cause a fight? Because I'm like, that would take about 5 minutes.
You make the fucking thing.
That's the audio equivalent of Nudie's Photoshop skills.
That is the line of the night.
Oh,
Even I like that one.
Oh, I almost fucking
Goddamn
died
Canadian
choking on
strikes.
my laughter.
Canadian Strikes Back.
Yeah. You couldn't save that for later, right?
No, that was good.
I will tell you for a standalone, okay, I know this is a remake that I actually quite like. From the theatrical experience of the 3D remake, I had a blast. With it, so I actually really like the remake. But from a standalone slasher, probably my fave, as we mentioned. We did consider Black Christmas a slasher, so I did rate Black Christmas a notch above. Same rating actually, but it's just in the order of the breakdown. Black Christmas one nudged it out.
what'd you guys think of the whole costume, the minor costume for a slasher?
Oh, I love it.
Excellent.
I think okay. I like it from an aesthetic standpoint. I like looking at it. I think it's cool as shit. I think it's incredibly impractical if you're actually in the suit. You have no peripheral vision, probably can't hear anything properly. I mean, I'm sitting there watching it thinking, how does he not get caught sooner? And you know, the only thing I could figure is that Canadian teenagers just aren't real bright. I don't know.
And you've got a light on your head. It's like, bing, here I am.
Yeah, and everybody can hear you breathing like Darth Vader.
That's true.
Canada's taking some shots tonight. Holy shit.
It's like you every Friday night.
Oh,
That's to the face.
Well, I'm wondering why you look so moisturized over there.
He's sweating between the lights.
Oil Valet. Twice
Like, weird. I think Christian is actually the best looking guy on this podcast.
Okay, what about Brandon?
I say it
No,
to
Brandon
myself all
is.
the time.
Brandon's not on right now.
Yeah, he's
If
right
Brandon-
On this,
Oh, tonight. I'm like,
podcast right now.
on this very
If
podcast.
Brandon was here, Brandon would win, obviously. I'm part of the Brandon Orlick fan club. It's called the Will You Go or Lick Us podcast. It's coming out soon. Jerry Cortes is producing.
It's going to be up to 10 shows no time.
Yeah, we're going on a TGIF 13 schedule.
Yeah. One a year.
I'll see you in 2021.
Yeah. It's going to be great.
It's not my fault, by the way.
On IMDb, if you look up My Bloody Valentine, they have the sneak previews or Ebert and Siskel on there where they review My Bloody Valentine.
Play it.
It's a pretty good watch.
I got to say,
How long does it take?
It's like 7 minutes. You have to fast forward to that part because they have the whole episode.
Oh.
I want to run something by y'all, so no one steal this idea because it's something I'm gonna start doing on Kill the Cast.
Let me write this down.
Yeah, go ahead and get your pen out. You'll have to figure out some way to turn it into a commentary, but I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Jerry hates horror.
No, I want to do a segment where I want to take movies that we review and find like Robert and Ebel, Sisler and Ebel, whatever the fuck their names are. I'm not big movie critics. Their reviews of movies, because when I was doing research for like my is Hellraiser the greatest horror movie of all time, and is The Thing the greatest horror movie of all time, they slammed both those movies.
Yeah.
And I want to like start taking their reviews and kind of putting it on the show to be like, this is what the most famous movie critics of all time said about this horror movie, because they said Hellraiser was devoid of imagination.
I already did that on a few of my episodes, just so you know. But it's all right, you can do it.
Oh, well, at least people were here at this time.
Have you ever heard of Critique the Critic?
The longest running show on Horrorphilia, bitch.
Or my new segment, Fangoria Back Issues.
Yes, exactly. Sometimes you have to take from lesser podcasts and put it on a greater show. It's called the Edison, okay? It's an American tradition. That was a smart
I call it the Robin Williams. Once you take it, it's his. Steal any joke, it's his.
That was some low-hanging fruit, Christian.
That's what we do here.
He's on a roll tonight.
You like my double entendre with that?
Oh, as usual, you're over my head. Oh, wow.
Really?
Fell on your head.
Just trying to get around your neck.
He really wants on the show.
I want everyone to know I'm just trying to give the audience a little bit of Brandon humor, because
well said. Yes.
I want him to be here in spirit, and so I was like, well, I'm the whitest person here, so I'm probably the closest thing to Brandon. So I'm gonna go for it, because Nudie would probably beat me, but he lives in Florida, so he actually has somewhat of a weird tan. And I don't see light. I mean, I am fucking just look how fucking white I am. My legs would blind you. I actually use them to light my YouTube videos.
Look at that light coming from, like, it looks like Jesus is coming to the side of.
Oh, you should see. Oh, no. Watch this shit. I'm gonna show you what my light that I record on YouTube looks like.
When he put his hands up a few times, it looked like alien hands with that light.
For you listeners here, this is all visual stuff. Join the Patreon.
Yeah, that's right. One more reason. Yes.
You'll see the video.
See all this good shit. We got a guy walking around. We got a fan.
Oh, no.
We got a light. Cool.
There you go. Does that look better for you? Now
You look great. You look fine. Now look at that. Yeah, he's got like shading.
Professional light on.
Look at you.
Holy smoke.
Wow, is that Jesus or not? Oh my God, what is that?
Oh, he's got the halo.
Yeah.
That's a good
we don't.
It's the end of the Dark song.
My Jesus has titties and a penis. So.
Oh, clickety
Yeah.
My Jesus has a. Well, I think we may have lost half of our listeners, but that's okay.
Okay.
Why? I'm just like
No.
Brandon. I don't believe in Jesus.
You gotta be kidding me.
Underwater kaiju, gotta be kidding me.
Holy smoke.
Getting to the end again, because it was brought up. Two things about the end. One is a question to Mr. Venom, because I know he was going to have something to say about the end. And something else I have to say is when we get our reveal here, and they're like, oh, his father was killed on the anniversary of this yada, yada, yada. Wouldn't that be, that's the only reason I can't give this movie like a 10 out of 10. Wouldn't that be the first person you thought that would have maybe some type of traumatic event that could be tied into this at all? Like, wouldn't you think that if you're one of the elder statesmen of the town that, and you knew that this guy's father was killed by fucking Harry Warden, that, well, maybe, and how come nobody else knew about that? None of his friends, nobody knew that took place. So that's an observation. And then I want to know if Mr. Venom's critique is that, or it's something different.
Oh no, for me it's literally the actual ending of Axel kind of running deeper into the mine. It just left me scratching my head. What's that?
Really? You don't like that?
I'm not the biggest fan. I feel like the movie set up a sequel that obviously we never got. And it's just anybody who's listened to me, over various podcasts understand I hate open-ended endings. You can have a sequel to a franchise movie without giving me an ending that doesn't feel like an ending. And this movie, once I saw that ending, it felt like it was just the first chapter of a bigger story. And since we never got that story, it just kind of left me, which I guess is what movie filmmakers want, that it left me wanting more. So if that was their intention, then they got what they want. It doesn't affect my rating of the movie. I'm kind of like Jerry, where I'm not the biggest fan of rating movies. I just say it's good or it's not good. It's as simple as that to me. But I'm not going to knock the movie for it. It's just not my favorite slasher ending. It's not even close.
And it makes you feel better. It probably ends with him bleeding to death. Somewhere in the mine. That's probably what happens.
Smoke inhalation or whatever.
Well, his arm is right. His arm is dripping blood. He's wet. Yeah.
And he's going deeper into an unexplored part of the mine too, because that was all the danger. Don't go in here part of the mine.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So
he's gonna have no food or water, and he's bleeding to death.
To Dave Z's point, though, I want to spitball a few things to see if I can come up with something that might make him feel better. One, the police are not of Haddonfield, so they're not, automatically going to assume that, well, let's just look who's an actual suspect. Instead, let's go back to the crazy person. So there's that. But also, I assume that his friends, if they do know, one, by the time they actually find out, because none of his friends know that people are dying with their hearts out in candy boxes. They hide that from everyone in the coal mine. True. So none of them know until the party when the one girl gets a shower head through the mouth and the other guy is killed by a Limp Bizkit album. Like, that's when you finally find out that's when they're like, it's Harry Warden. And at that point, there's so much chaos. They would never actually sit down and think, well, who are the suspects? They wouldn't. It's at this point, we got to go save our friends. People are fucking dying. Shit's going crazy. It's too much. So that explains his friends not saying anything. As for the chief and the mayor, I think they're both just much like the old bartender. They were around when it originally happened. And it's kind of like when old people want to get nostalgic for like their wartime or something like that. It's much more interesting to them to think something from their personal past has come back instead of looking at what would logically be, oh, well, are any of the relatives alive of the two people who actually died from this or not? The two people who made the mistake and got the miners killed. Let's look at their children. Because obviously, they should obviously fucking know. So my explanation for them is really weak, but nostalgia is a bitch, and I could see them being, in a weird fucking way, nostalgia takes them back to the incident, and because of that, all they can fucking think about is that. And maybe they assume that, I don't know, who else would, no one in our town who works at my coal mine would do something like this. Not this day and age. It's unbelievable to even think that. So maybe that's how they feel subconsciously, so it never comes out over. But who really knows? Because does anyone really understand the working of a Canadian mind? Really? You're going to tell me you watched the Cronenberg movie and understood what was going on in the director's mind? No. Get the fuck out of here.
And maybe this is one of the scenes that ended up on the cutting room floor that wasn't gore related, that maybe they figured pointed too much of a spotlight on Axel as the killer. So maybe they decided, maybe we can't, maybe they alluded, maybe there's a whole scene saying, actually, you're going to be okay. I know your father was murdered, whatever. And he's like, and Harry Warden's coming back. I said, we're really pointing at Harry Warden's coming back. And they said, by introducing this, maybe it's just like, oh, he's going to be red herring. Yeah,
and it's also very Friday the 13th Part 1 like. everyone's dying and no one stops to think about the original incident. Oh, well, maybe it could be that kid's fucking mom. No one stops to think about that because it's so long ago. Mm-hmm. You know, even the people of the town who are like, don't go there, much like the people of this town going, oh, don't have a Valentine's Day dance. They're like, don't do that because they're so traumatized by what happened, 20, 30 years ago that they just don't actually fucking focus on who the actual suspect should be.
And is it set up as a whodunit? Because we're really kind of told it's Harry Warden from the get-go. I mean, and again, slasher movies, only some of them are set up as whodunit. Happy Birthday to Me, the Friday the 13th, to a degree, the first and even I guess you could argue the second one, because we think it's we were thinking it's the son, but we don't really know until the end. And so, but is this one really set up as a whodunit, or is it just?
Well, I mean, they gave us multiple red herrings. I mean, I remember watching it the first time thinking it was the bartender. It's like, how does this guy know so much information about both Harry Warden and what's going to happen? I mean, he's predicting it almost to a T. So the fact that there were red herrings in it kind of made me feel like it was a little bit of a whodunit.
I do feel like the whole mystery aspect of the whodunit is very light. Like they focus more on the love triangle than they do the actual mystery of it. And it's one of those. It reminds me of a giallo where until you get the reveal, you're like, I would have never have guessed that, because they only slightly hinted at it a long time ago, early in the movie, but they didn't really connect it with the actual character who did it until the reveal. It's like, because that's one of my problems with giallos is I can't fucking actually figure out who did it because they don't tell me this very important piece of fucking information. That was it. They did that in this movie, except they did it in a way where it was just, they cared more about the love triangle than the mystery.
And Sexy Venom is right. They do introduce red herrings, and then some red herrings do get killed. But I think the whodunit aspect was definitely more prevalent in the remake, which then was a product of the Scream generation, and they really played up the whodunit aspect. But it is here, but it's I think we're just presented Harry Warden, so you get the Scooby-Doo reveal kind of. Mm-hmm.
It's shown more like it's about the urban legend of this town than it is like the mystery of who did it, like in Scream.
Yeah,
exactly. Because you're right away you're told Harry Warden is alive. So until they come back and say he died 5 years ago or whatever, but so you're already thinking. And now once the reveal comes in, you got to think like Axel inherited Jason's teleportation powers and the speed changing costumes, because like 1 second he's here, so either he has this minor costume thrown about all over the place so he can just go from one room to another and put the fucker on. He must have like 5 or 6 of them inside there, because like, you know, he's there in the minor suit. 2 seconds later he shows up with just his light hat on. And
I mean, technically he's probably had years of practice of putting that suit on. And he's had the access to do as much prep time as he wanted to. He's the Batman of slashers.
I'm just nitpicking because I love the movie. I'm just nitpicking at that. But
same here. I totally agree.
But I love when someone nitpicks, because it makes me think. Because I never questioned that when I watched the movie. So it wasn't until you were like, how did they do that I had to fucking pull a Batman analogy out of my head to be like, well, he had enough prep time and he's had enough practice.
Well, he comes out of the bar.
Shit.
He comes out of the bar one time to have a drink.
When Axel leaves, when him and TJ get in a fight and he fucking opens his beer can and runs out and then slams the door and then goes and sits down, I'm just like, you wasted beer.
Well, and then you kind of wonder if he's drunk or if that's where the mental break is happening again. Because then that's when he goes and kills the two people, right?
I think he already killed the hot dog flavored water guy, but then after that he goes and kills the one chick. He kills the chick where he drops the suits down and then makes her a shower head.
Great scene. That's great. That whole sequence is great with the stuff coming down and how she ends up and. One of the best parts of the film.
I still don't know how he dropped all of those, because when the guy explained to the girl how to do it, he was like, oh, you just pull the cord And I thought it was a cord that was literally like right next to each suit. So I'm not sure how he was pulling a cord right next to each suit, but she couldn't see him or his light. So I don't know if there's another contraption somewhere else. I know nothing about mining and how it's set up. If there's like another universal control. But that's one scene that looks awesome, doesn't make much sense. But I do like any time in a horror movie where someone puts their hands to their head and just start screaming no.
Like they just give it up all hope.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm a goner.
they blink out so bad they don't know what to do but hold their head and scream no, like a child yelling at their parent. They're so terrified they go back to being a child.
Christian's wife when he moves in for a kiss. No.
It's like you have a camera and you're just looking at our lives.
How about the killer does laundry? Have you thought about that scene? The killer actually does, because when the guy goes there the next day and he sees that Mabel discovers that she is dead in the moving laundry thing. Right beside that, there's laundry there, there's detergent there, and there's laundry being done. So the killer went in there at that particular time, was doing laundry for whatever reason, and timed for the chief to come there to have that reveal.
Because the laundry would have been done by the morning time if it was just from what old lady Mabel was doing or whatever her name was.
Yeah,
so
man.
he had to be like, you know what? This one's on me, guys.
Yeah, I think he wanted more dramatic if he found her in a spinning dryer.
Absolutely, it was a great scene, and if you apply logic to it, it's kind of silly. Like like the scene Jerry was just talking about with the stuff dropping, and I can excuse those in horror movies and slashers in particular. But I just think it's funny that he went there, that there was laundry being done in the one right next to it, because there's nobody else there. So obviously the killer is doing some type of laundry, and he's trying to clean maybe his mess. I don't know. I just think it's funny. But
So you
why?
think he's naked in the suit?
Damn it! I spilled fucking jelly on my shirt. Fucking
Ragu. It's
I'm gonna have to
ragu.
clean this.
Ragu.
Why does TJ give up on Axel so easily just because that thing breaks in the water 60 feet deep? Does Axel just have a reputation of I just can't fucking swim? Like if one of you guys,
No, he just eliminated the competition for his fucking girlfriend.
That's true.
He didn't give a shit about Axel.
You're right. I can buy it.
They're like, fuck it. They're like, shouldn't we go in after him? No, these clothes weigh so much. He just dropped straight down
Then
to the
again,
bottom.
the water's probably freezing too.
Yeah, but
Can't swim in
fucking
that cold water.
people survived the Titanic. I'm pretty sure he can survive a little mine water in Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't take long. You see the thing's broken. He turns around. He goes there. Okay, he's a goner. I'm like, really? Okay. I mean, yeah.
I like the variation. There's a little bit of variation of kills. Pickaxe is used a few times, but I like how there's that nail gun.
Yes. Oh, that's a sad scene because you care about him.
Yeah,
I love him.
Me too.
He died in real life from brain cancer. What a shock that is. Nails in the head, and then he dies of brain cancer. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
That-
Not horrible. I mean, that's
Yeah, he died young, I think. He died pretty young.
Oh, I'm even more sad. Oh, jeez.
I'm sorry I brought the show down.
Yeah.
Somebody make me laugh. Somebody make me
Jerry,
laugh.
start talking about blowjobs again, Jerry. Quick.
No, I gotta see when my man Hollis died. Keith Knight. Let's see. He died. No, he died at 51. I guess that's.
All right. Well, he was 46 when he did the movie.
Really? 40 fucking
No, I can't imagine.
Oh, I was gonna say, he died in 2007.
Oh, so you didn't even see the remake. See, we got to think, even if you're not a fan of remakes or this remake or whatever it may be, the remake is probably what got us the uncut versions of these movies, because it reintroduced interest into this movie.
I agree.
So,
I like the remake, but it only works in 3D, though.
Agreed.
Standard format, it doesn't really work well. And luckily, I have a 3D TV, so I can watch it when I need to.
Yeah,
I actually wanted to watch it before the show. I had to watch Trancers, so I didn't. I don't know why I brought that up. That was fucking dumb. But I did want to watch it because it's weird because I had just watched the Friday the 13th remake, which had Supernatural boy Sam, and then the My Bloody Valentine 3D has Supernatural Dean. So they both
came out the same year, too.
a week
Yeah,
apart.
so
I think
Yeah.
a week apart. Wow.
It was close, yeah.
a week or two. Yeah, I remember it was a good time. Both movies were fun to watch in the theater, man.
Yep.
I wish I
Yeah,
had
they
the
were.
experience of Mr. Venom there with seeing this one in the actual theater.
I'm going to talk to there's a place here called Full Moon Cinema, and on the weekends they show old horror movies. And so I'm going to have to talk to him about screening My Bloody Valentine, because I want to see that in theaters now.
Absolutely. You can
We're
get it
getting,
probably in February.
We're getting an Alamo Draft House down here, so I can't wait for that. So they'll be starting. Hopefully, they'll start doing some classic horror stuff here.
And they're doing
Yeah.
a subscription service, so you can get on their version of Movie Pass.
Really?
Yeah, we're
Probably
gonna
gonna be
Venom.
next year.
Venom, you got that or no?
What's that?
It's not launched yet.
Oh, it's not launched yet?
No,
Okay,
but
then I know
they
you
just
got
announced
one.
it.
Okay.
We haven't. The LA. What do you call it? Hasn't opened yet. We are getting one though.
Oh, don't you
You're
get
gonna
every
have it
movie
all.
anyway there? You get everything there one way or the other.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to buy the poster when I get the movie too. So having them here is going to help that out a lot. I have my house is basically a museum of movie posters.
Nice.
Wow. That's
I've got too many posters. I don't have any more room to put up posters.
You should see me neither. Like this whole fucking room is
I have a stack of Scream Factory posters I can't put up. Like you can see the Friday Part 4
Yeah.
behind me.
yeah.
I got this
Right
one. I
behind
haven't
it.
even had a chance to even put it anywhere, man.
What's the matter with you? Send it to me. I'll make room.
I got to get a frame for it. Is what I'm waiting for.
Oh, okay.
There it
I
is.
got all mine framed. I got mine.
I've
I'm
got.
gonna pick up my computer, but I got mine too.
I don't
Actually,
have that,
Can you see it from here?
but I do have
Humongous, even. Holy smoke!
No, let's see.
Friday the 13th Part 2 VHS signed by Steve Dash.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
And actually, yeah, he died in. This was done in October, but I was in the hospital, so I didn't get to go. But my fiance and mom went and got it for me. And then I was going to see him in January for Days of the Dead because I was going to talk to him about fucking being diabetic, but he died, so I didn't get to. But I do have my Steve Dash VHS tape, and I'm pretty stoked about it.
That's awesome.
Wow. Very cool. Now, there is one fatal flaw I'm going to say before it ends, and it's nothing big, but if they don't have that fight in that freaking thing and Axel doesn't get thrown out and all that shit that we were just talking about, none of the stuff happens at the end.
I mean,
I realized that when we were doing the slasher show, a couple years ago when I
But-
was rewatching everything.
that's
the
also
only issue I have.
I never see those as an issue just because that's literally, you can take almost any movie and stop the movie from happening really early on. Some things have to happen for story development and plot, and you have to accept it. And I don't think it's a good nitpick.
Nice.
Nice.
Ooh, that fixed it.
Wow.
We're showing off
Poster
posters
mania.
again
Yep.
for those
Poster
not
mania.
watching the video.
Awesome.
But
People, the audio only people are not the target market for this episode.
I know, right? The
But Jerry's
50
right, and
patrons.
Jerry is right because he would have just left then. If the fight didn't happen to be the catalyst for him to leave, he would have just left.
He just
Oh, I
would've
gotta
said,
go
well,
take a
but
piss.
he-
I've been drinking.
Okay, I
But
guess
from,
so.
from
But
a
the whole
cinematic
thing is
standpoint, we get it.
the whole thing is this love triangle between the two girls, between the guy. Why would he leave Sarah's side? He was there having fun with her, this, that, the other thing. He doesn't want to let her out of his sight.
Keep-
because EJ's there.
Keep in mind, though, he's already in his psychotic breakdown because he's already killed people. So while I do think the relationship part is a stressor, there's also the other part of it of he's already started killing people because of his dead dad. So he probably would have left anyway because he's not in the right state of mind to actually sit there and go, oh, well, let me stay here and make sure he doesn't try shit. He's drinking. He's already having a psychotic breakdown. He probably would have left for one reason or another. Because
Okay.
technically,
That's fair.
he already left before that fight happened because he left to kill the hot dog flavored water boy.
But wouldn't his girlfriend question it? Hey, where the fuck is Axel? He's been gone for an hour.
No,
and just
because
walked out.
she's annoyed by both of the fucking guys. She even says it in the movie that she's getting
That's
annoyed
true.
by both of them.
Yeah.
So she's taking any time she can to go talk to fucking super sexy red dress Hollis's girlfriend. I'm sorry, I know you had a name character, but you're just super sexy red dress Hollis's girlfriend because I really like Hollis.
Maybe he was leaving to go heat up a TV dinner on an engine.
That's true.
Good scene though, because if we didn't have that scene,
It
we
was
wouldn't get
great.
the dueling harmonicas.
Yeah. That was a really. I always wondered what a Canadian bonfire looked like.
So it's
Guess
like
we got a problem here, eh?
We hang out in old auto wreck graveyards and cook TV dinners on their engines.
Oh man, that's good. How about that condom? Hey, Christian, you're from Canada. Did you notice that condom wrapper? I've never seen a condom wrapper that looked
Sheepskin?
like that before. No. Minute, hold on. I'm gonna put up a picture of it. I took a picture of it. Maybe look. Looks like a dog on it. Hold on. Look.
It's 1981.
I don't give a fuck. Trojans and Magnums.
Ramses.
Look the same. And Ramses in '81 that I saw that I still see now. No, it doesn't don't recognize it.
Wait, was the Ramsey a Game of Thrones reference? Because of the dog, or
No, it's actually it was a name of a condom brand.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely.
oh, okay. What's wrong? What's wrong with them having a dog logo? I see dogs hump everything. They should wear fucking condoms. Jesus.
I've just never seen that condom. I've seen my share of different condoms.
Have you ever been to Canada?
That's why I asked Christian. Are you paying attention?
Maybe,
I am. I'm
maybe
just
they were
trying to figure out why you're like. I don't know why I haven't seen this condom from another country.
At 7
Okay,
years old,
right?
at 7
You're
years
right.
old, I was fucking my pillow. I
want to know if Christian's seen it.
I know what a condom
Maybe he was a member of that secret hostile organization.
Oh, that's right. Elite hunting. There was a dog on it. You're right.
He's elite pussy hunting.
I gotta tell you, this might be the longest review of my.
I was gonna say, Dave said this won't be a 6-hour show. We've been on for 2 already, and we still got one movie down.
I guess we're not gonna have a middle segment. That's okay. So be it. That's good.
Well,
I
hey,
don't know.
if you guys don't usually rate movies, so do what you would normally do. You don't have to
Yeah.
break. You don't have to break any new ground. Just
Yeah, right. This is already in our Hall
do
of
it
Fame.
the way
We
you
would
want to
have-
do it.
Yeah, do it the way you want to do it. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't really rate movies because here's the way I look at it is, you just heard my review. You either want to watch it based off what I said, or you don't want to watch it based off what I've said. That's my rating. If I had to give it a rating, I'd be pretty high. This has got to be a 8.5 or a 9 for me, just because there's the very few things you can nitpick on, I can probably explain away in some form of another. The amount of NyQuil you have to drink before you believe it ranges, but I can probably do it. It's just entertaining. It's very well paced. The mythology of the character is great. The town is great. The mind is great. There's really not that much negative I can say about this movie, especially with the uncut version. And I like the way the grainy films look. If it almost looks like it becomes a point of view of the killer, and it just kind of changes to how he sees the world when you get those extra bloody scenes. And to me, that's really fucking cool. So if you haven't checked out the uncut version, definitely check it out. You know what? I'm going to go with a 9. I really don't have too many complaints about the movie. The only reason I wouldn't give it a 10 is because it's not Jaws. So I don't know.
That's fair.
Mine's gonna be short and sweet. What Jerry said. 9 out of 10. And the same thing. I mean, Jaws and Friday 1 are my 2 10s, and maybe Willy Wonka. That's about it for me.
Wow, nice. Okay.
Do you
What
make
about-
your wife dress up as an Oompa Loompa sometimes?
Oh,
when you're
God.
getting really kinky?
When you're giving her the golden ticket.
The Golden Zendano.
Sexy Venom.
I'm gonna come in just ever so slightly lower than Jerry and Nudie. Part of the reason why I don't really like rating movies is because the rating is constantly changing. Like, depending on my mood, when I watch it, who I'm watching it with, it just changes the experience. I try to be as objective as possible, but ultimately, experience matters. So because of the few extra minor nitpicks that I have with the ending, I'm gonna go with an 8.5 out of 10.
Cool. I love the
And
way you
by
guys
the way-
rate shit too. This is great. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had a question for Christian, being the other giant Friday the 13th fan here. Did the music in this movie have a tinge of Manfredini in it? Especially during that chase scene at the end. It felt a lot like a Friday song.
At the end, yes.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
noticed that this watch, I noticed that at the end.
Yeah.
And it's funny you said that because I meant to bring that up when I was talking about, I love this guy's name, Paul Zaza. And it almost seems like he was, because at this point, I guess 2 would have been out as well. Oh, no, maybe not.
Yep,
because
same time.
No, 2 would.
Right.
Yeah.
No, because it would have been May, and this came out February. Yeah, so only 1.
True.
But it would have been playing off the success of 1. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you thought you guys both saw that. How about you, Dave?
Believe it or not, I did not pick up on that.
It's
wow.
not overly noticeable, but it is there. Like I did a few times, like this is almost Friday-esque.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not to say that it sounds like Friday's chase music, because Friday's chase music is a lot more intense. But it was more like the incidental music from Friday sounded like the chase music in this movie. So that was all I was kind of getting at.
Okay, all right.
I don't notice music enough in most movies, so I definitely didn't notice it.
I know you don't, right?
Yeah.
He is Brandon on this show.
Yeah,
Brandon, that would have been
I
a
never
Brandon
noticed
answer. He never notices it. He says,
Christian, okay.
Yeah.
You said Friday the 13th 1 is your favorite in series. And Neil, did you say Friday the 13th Part 1 is your favorite also?
Yeah, more of a nostalgic reason though.
Okay.
I mean, I love them all,
So-
but it is my favorite one.
I've always thought that Friday the 13th Part 1 is very much an American giallo. It's a slasher, but it has more giallo elements than any other of the Friday the 13th movies. And I know you're a big giallo fan, Christian. Do you think because you love giallo so much that's why Friday the 13th Part 1, part of that is why it's part of your favorite?
Probably, because I like, that's probably why I like both that and Prom Night. Because Prom Night, I think, plays out like a giallo as well. And my love of giallo actually was more evolutionary. I guess it happened more in the last, again, 15 years than when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I just wanted more fun, gore, scares, fun, fast-paced fun. And as you get older, that's why Friday the 13th, the original, wasn't my favorite as a kid. I would have gone to 4 and 6 and 5, actually. I liked Imposter Jason even at a young age because it probably, again, played to
Part 5's in my top 3.
And then it became 2 and 1, and 1 really has just. I still think 1 is creepy and scary to me. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've really gotten into giallo movies over the past 2 years, mostly because of podcasts. I think in the past 2 years, I've listened to y'all's episode, There's Always Room for Giallo, twice.
Nice.
Because I went back and re-listened to it recently, over the past couple of months, as I'm watching certain giallos and trying to find other podcasts that are covering giallos. Like I just messaged Jave because he was on a Dario Argento episode for 22 Shots. Because I went back because I finally watched Phenomena. So I wanted to go back and listen to that podcast episode because I wanted to hear people talk about it. So it crossed my mind.
You make a valid point with the giallo because I am not the biggest fan. I do like the exceptional ones, the ones that most people probably like anyway, which would lead back to the Friday conversation where Part 1 is not my favorite. I am still a Part 4. I will be a final chapter till the day I die. My mother, believe it or not, took me to go see Part 4 on opening weekend.
Awesome.
We actually were going to see Splash. I've told this story before. It opened the same weekend as Splash. My mother and my parents got into an argument, and my mother's like, let's get out of here. Let's go see a movie. We went to see Splash, completely sold out. So we went ahead and did Friday, the final chapter. And it is easily the best time I ever had at the movies with my mother.
What a sad day. Your mom ruined our only chance to get a Splash podcast.
She said, fuck Tom Hanks.
And to this day, I still haven't seen Splash, so whatever.
Yeah.
You must.
Friday 4 was the first Friday that I saw on my own without parents joining me. My old man actually took me to see the original Friday. I was 11, so I think you and I are pretty close in age, Jerry.
Yeah. My mother took me to go see the original Friday back in 1980 because she couldn't find a babysitter for me.
Yeah.
We had one particular aunt who was always my babysitter when my mother went out, but she wanted to see Friday as well, so we all just went together.
Nice.
My first Friday the 13th movie in theaters was Jason Goes to Hell.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
Mine was Takes Manhattan because again I had to sneak in and I was 15 when that came out, and again, I always forget it was on my birthday, so I think I just turned 15.
Babies.
Yeah. Mine was the final chapter with my father. I've told that story before, and it was fucking what an amazing night.
I like being the youngest on a show. It makes me feel better. That's why my other all
Yeah, but
my
you didn't get to live through the 80s, dude. That was the best.
I'm
See, I'm
glad the
jealous.
music was awful.
I'm jealous that I didn't get to see
music's
it.
amazing.
Yeah, dude. I wish I could have been a couple years older because I wish I could have seen Friday Part 1 in the theater. See, that's
Oh
what
man, I know. That's
And-
it. If I had a DeLorean, that's what I'd go back and see. We were talking about this on the show one time. I'd
Yeah.
love to go see the first Friday the 13th in a theater.
Absolutely.
Opening night back in '80. That would be great. But just to round this up, we've reviewed this, and I totally agree with you, Mr. Venom, about your rating can change. My rating has changed for this movie, and it's constantly gone up on repeated viewings. I don't think I could go to a 10 out of 10, but I definitely give it a full head explosion. I'll do an exploding head style for that. It's still the same ranking I gave for the slasher show.
Same here. I'll say the same thing. Yeah.
Nice.
We love it. It's in our Hall of Fame.
Great
so
flick.
I give it a full mouth explosion.
that's for Brandon. Awesome. All right. Well, let's take one last break. Come back. Talk about Night of the Creeps, and we be out. So,
All right.
see you in a minute.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Looking for complete coverage of the horror genre? Then join us south of heaven on the No More Room in Hell podcast.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Join Mr. Venom, Mike, and featuring Derek Bourgeois and the Zombie King himself, Corey Graham, as we tackle movies, TV shows, video games, and everything else the genre has to offer.
We have such sights to show you.
Because after all,
When there's no more room in hell,
the dead shall start a podcast.
So yeah, that's that. We're back. We're having a grand old time. I'm eating chicken fingers with a fork, and we're doing our thing. We're gonna talk about Night of the Creeps, 1986, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. Tom, motherfucking Atkins.
That's all you're going to say? You're done. You're
Wow.
done for the review.
All right. Thanks for listening to Exploding Heads.
I give this review 5 chicken fingers out of 5. Super good. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's all I'm going to say as far as bringing it in, because, like I said, out of respect for Brandon, we're not doing a synopsis. We don't got to say nothing.
That's
How do you even fucking do a synopsis for this movie? Because like it begins aliens,
right?
Then 1950s axe murderer. Then 1980s college parties. It's like
I love this script. I love it. I did this on Slice and Dice. It was with Joey. This is the one I was on. This and we did Fright Night. So I gave it a crazy ass rating. I love this movie. It's one of my personal favorite films, and like I think it's a love nod to just movies, and you can just see the giddiness in the script, and I love the playfulness of the aliens. Yeah, they look rubbery on screen, but how funny is it to see their language subtitled and then the translation in our language
Yeah,
too?
why?
I thought that was cruel.
I'm just pissed that Full Moon copied the aliens to make their gingerbread movies.
I thought you'd be turned on because their mouth was always open like Heather Landerkamp. Like,
Fucking these aliens have better acting than Heather. Get the fuck out of here.
Jerry's like, maybe I can get one of them aliens to blow me.
Oh, wow, you're gonna make a joke because my fiance is Mexican? Fucking racist, man.
See,
Green card ran out. Just blow me. You'll get a green card.
My question is, it never popped up before. It should have been probably the first time I viewed the movie. What were they doing with the experiment on the ship?
Oh, it was a weight loss program. They're getting
My question about that opening scene is, was the alien jettisoning the experiment away because he was scared of it?
Yeah.
Or was there another more diabolical reason? I don't know.
There's a whole nother movie before this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is 3 movies but we only see like 10 minutes from the first 2 movies, and then we get all of the third movie.
This is like Star Wars for horror movies, except instead of having a trilogy for each thing, there's just one movie. So now we need a prequel and we need a sequel.
Yeah, it's like if you made anthology movies, but you were like, you know what? First short, 10 minutes. Second segment, 10 minutes. Third segment, hour.
Man, I wish they would do a prequel and a sequel, though. In all seriousness, that would be great.
This
Although the
could've used-
prequel would be sci-fi straight up, but hey,
Well, no, not necessarily. I guess they could.
it'd be fucking aliens. What else would it be?
I'm trying to see the I don't know if I'd call it a prequel or a sequel, because it depends on where you start this movie, but I'm trying to watch Tom Atkins hunt down a fucking psychopathic axe murderer and kill him. That's fuck the guy who killed Bigfoot or killed Hitler and then Bigfoot. I'm trying to see Tom Atkins fucking hunt down and kill a psychopathic axe-wielding maniac. That's the movie I want to see.
And then bury her in the dead mother's backyard or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, playful script. Like, if I had to say, be very nitpicky at the beginning as well, this could have used a better theme. I found the music was, again, Jerry, you say you don't notice music. I wanted a bigger theme to this movie. I think it was missing something. If it had its own theme song, I think it would have even elevated it even more so.
Yeah, my biggest problem with this movie, I'll throw it to Neil, because you remember the 1950s. What the fuck is a gomer? I don't know what a gomer is.
Gomer?
Yeah, someone
Gomer Pyle?
disses someone and calls them a gomer, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
a reference to
Pyle,
Gomer
yeah.
Pyle, yeah.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Gomer Pyle?
Television
USMC.
character.
Yeah, dude.
Surprise,
old-
surprise, surprise!
There you go.
Golly!
Wow,
Yeah.
you sound like my uncle right before he entered. Never mind.
Basically,
Before you entered
Ernest.
your mouth.
Okay, Ernest, I know.
Basically, Ernest ripped off Gomer Pyle. How's that?
Oh, well, fuck Gomer Pyle. Ernest for life.
Fuck Ernest. And I'll tell you why fuck Ernest.
Listen here, Vern.
Let me tell you, that's why. That's why, Jerry. Thank you. Because I watched Ernest for fucking years on those electric gas, or on those gas commercials, whatever the fuck it was, for like a year and a half, 2 years. And all he was doing was talking about Vern, Vern, Vern. So now, when a movie comes out called Ernest Goes to Camp, I'm like, we're finally going to see fucking Vern. We've been hearing this guy talking Vern for fucking 2 years. I want to see who this Vern is. They don't show it. I never watch it on fucking
apparently, Dave also gets very upset when it's POV porn. Yeah,
You're talking about augmented reality, where I'm like, I just want to see what the hell's going on here.
I want to see the guy holding the camera.
Yeah, suddenly I'm in the video. I'm like, what the hell's happening?
One of the coolest things about this movie are all the fucking references to other horror movies. In fact, there's one that I didn't write down and missed, so y'all might get it, but y'all probably got all these. The college is called Corman. One of the characters is called Romero. Another one is Cronenberg. Another one is Cameron. Another one is JC, as in John Carpenter, and his last name is Hooper.
Yep.
One is Landis. One is Ramby. Motherfucker.
Rammy?
Rammy. Ram me, please. Just ram me right in the mouth.
For non-flashbacks.
Yeah.
Ram me.
Minor, and then two that were really fast. Dante and De Palma, and I haven't figured out which one, Dante or De Palma. One of those guys is the guy from Cannibal Holocaust that goes to find the footage and all that shit. He's one of the ones with he's the white guy with the spotlight in the cop car that gets the axe almost fucking hits him. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He is either Dante or De Palma. I'm not sure which one, because they say the names before they go to him, but they don't specify which
He just recently passed away, too.
Oh.
Dave would know him. Dave would know him under his porn name of Arbola.
Arbola.
Yeah, he was in porn when he was doing those cannibal movies, too.
Oh, no shit. I don't know Arbola.
Cannibal Holocaust and one of his pornos at the same time and see which one. See if I can come to the other one while not fucking being horrified by the other one.
Yikes.
You forgot about Cunningham. Cunningham was another one.
Oh, that's the one I knew when I made my list. I forgot one and I was like, fuck, what is it? Cunningham. That's it.
Yep, that's it. How come you call them De Palmer? What are you, fucking Derek B over here?
I couldn't say rainy
Cinema
either.
attack.
Well, yeah, see, I couldn't say the other name either. I was losing my ability to talk. I forgot that this is exploding heads and not 22
Cinema.
shots. So I
You
was
can spell. Yeah.
fucking it up.
Woo. How about that? Jeremy got pissed off because the guy made this post and with all these grammatical and punctual errors.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you are complaining about somebody doing it with grammar and punctuation? I couldn't
Yeah,
believe-
but now Neil's making dude fucked a hamster meme, so I don't know what's going on over there anymore.
I didn't even watch that dude's video.
I
and I will not. But
I walked out. I was like, you know what? Done.
Boopy boopy.
Get the
I
fuck
won't
out.
even watch it.
Jesus God.
I
was
don't
so
even know what the
terrified.
hell anybody's talking about right now.
Oh, good.
You're
Don't
better
watch
off.
Okay.
Right, you're better off not knowing. Yes.
Oh, good lord.
Like
Perfect.
Christian said, the script for this movie is fucking fantastic, and this might be the most on-point dialogue in an 80s movie ever, because while the quips are coming fast, they never feel forced.
Yep.
It never, like, everything always feels so fucking natural. Like, I love JC.
Yep.
JC is the Hollis of this movie. He's fucking awesome. He's so underrated. He shouldn't have fucking died. Spoiler alert. He's fucking great. He's handicapped and he don't give a fuck. He's like, well, I'm never gonna get laid, so I'm just trying to get my best buddy laid.
Yeah, he's like the bestest friend you could have.
Yeah, he is the bestest.
Yeah.
And-
Sexy JC.
All right, Neil, I wouldn't go sexy, but I mean, I understand you're in Florida, got a lot of
Talking
handicap.
about
You're into
JC
that.
up above you.
I
Oh,
can't
hey, Jerry
see-
Cortez, Sexy Venom. Yeah.
Sexy
yeah.
JC.
That's gonna be his new name now. Sexy.
Oh, Jesus. I hope that doesn't stick.
Neil,
Only
you
here.
are
Only here.
about as funny as a crush.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror lately, fella?
How about Moolah? The old green stuff. Fun ticket.
Oh,
Like, it's so fucking
See my
good.
friend over there?
Yeah.
You think that was a thing for? You think that was a shout out or a nod to Revenge of the Nerds when they said that we only have to have sex with a farm animal? It's the exact same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Two guys sitting in a chair trying to do something with a fucking frat, and then you think they did that as a joke to the Revenge of the Nerds? As a
I
probably
yeah.
see it.
Yo,
rubbers.
Brad
For.
talks like what I assume a drunk high school Captain Kirk talks like.
the Bradster?
Yeah, the Bradster.
The rip off because they couldn't get fucking what's his name, William Zabka. Totally.
All right, I've got to throw down the challenge. Who's better, Gordon the cat or Gordon the dog?
Ah,
I'm
the
team
dog.
cat.
that cat looks just like my Ginny, except for my Ginny has much better looking eyes.
Oh, then you have to be team cat with me. If you don't, I'm going to tell your cat, and that cat's going to
Well,
throw
I
up
don't
a
understand.
hairball in your shoe.
Here's the problem with Gordon in this movie. They said it was a she. Why would you name a fucking she Gordon? That's why I thought maybe the name wasn't Gordon. I go, maybe I heard it wrong and it's not Gordon. But then later on they said it again. It was clearly Gordon. But they did say she. They did allude to it being a female cat. So now I'm a little bit perturbed about the whole thing.
Well, some people tend to always call cats females and always call dogs males.
That is
Yeah,
true.
dogs are bitches. I don't get that.
Everyone who meets my boy cat Cass, my gray one, calls him a her.
Mhm.
Every single time.
Oh, you know
Same
what?
with,
It's
our
weird
dog,
'cause
same with our cat as well. Yeah.
what?
Yep.
Everybody calls my dogs he's. I have two female dogs and everyone calls him he. Oh, fuck
Exactly.
Yeah. Dog,
Right.
he. I
That's
have a
what I'm
dog
saying.
and the cat, although it's a male cat, it's always she.
that. Wow. That's
Whatever
weird.
it
You know
is,
what
it's
though?
crazy.
For some reason, when I look at my cats, one's a male and one's a female, and I could easily tell by looking at them what sex they are. I don't know. It's just weird. But with
The
dogs,
penis gives it away.
I don't think
Jesus,
cats
pussy
have dicks.
monster.
I've never seen my cat's dick. My cat is a male. I've just been.
What a thing to hear and
You're
say.
not hard enough then.
I'm just
Quote
saying.
of the show. I've never
I've
seen
been-
my cat's dick.
I have not. I was told one is a male and one's a female. I have not seen Oreo's dick. I got to tell
Oh
you.
my god. Oreo.
My daughter named him. He's black and white.
Oh my God.
He has one white ball and one black ball.
Oh god.
Wow.
Is it true
So you've never seen the cream filling, is what you're saying?
Oh my god, this show's going off the rails.
Yeah.
Who has a cat here?
I do.
We all
A male?
I do.
Do you see the male cat's dick or do you not?
I do, but let me explain why. My cat has hump toys that he will grab in his mouth, and then he will just fiercely hump the air. And then when he's done, he lays on his back, spreads his leg, and licks himself. And it's like a very tiny, pointed red rocket, kind of like a dog, except much more pointed at the end. And it's fucking tiny. It's literally like that. So you just got to get your cat fucking, and then you'll see it. Get him some fuck toys. Mine has a little small pumpkin it likes to put in its mouth and just go to town.
Oh my god!
If you ever have a phone call with me and I'm inside my apartment, you will hear my cat meowing as he just fiercely fucks.
Anything that gets in his way.
Ask Kenneth. Every time I talk to Kenneth, he can hear my cat in the background just meowing as he goes to town on that toy.
The patrons are going, "We're paying for this shit."
Okay. In all seriousness, I have a question for you, Christian.
Yeah,
Mr. Producer. Why has this show never started off with what I would assume would be the greatest official movie quote for a show called Exploding Heads? Zombies, exploding heads, creepy crawlies, and a date for the formal. This is classic Spanky. That describes Exploding Head. Literally.
I thought I did do that one
and
time.
Yes,
but
Christian,
maybe I
you're
did.
Spanky.
Yeah, I'm Spanky. Good, I like that.
Are you trying to say I'm alfalfa?
It's a great head. Like a great head. It's a great quote.
Welcome to 22 Shots, where words don't matter.
It's a great head. It's a great head. No, that is a perfect quote. He has some of the best dialogue in the movie, if not all the good dialogue. What they wrote Tom Atkins to say, I just like the whole story tells about when he's talking to Spanky. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which comes out of fucking nowhere. He's just literally like, kid, come here. I'm going to tell you a fucking story. And then just confesses to murder.
Well, he was about to kill himself. And then,
True, he didn't care.
Yeah, at that point he didn't care, and then he realized.
I never got the vibe that he was about to kill himself.
That's where the tape. That's where the duct tape's all over.
You don't even catch on to that shit? Are you
He
serious?
turns off the oven, yeah.
Oh, I just thought that's how fucking old people heated their fucking houses in the 80s.
Just warming
I
my
thought
feet.
that was normal. I know people that heated their house by turning on their oven and opening it up.
And duct taping all the anywhere the air can get in.
Okay, well that doesn't. I didn't really think about that, but you're right. Okay, that is suicidal.
Yeah.
I just thought it was
feel
like
a little draft here.
I thought it was like the fucking redneck version of the movie Pulse from fucking Japan. It was just silver instead of red tape.
Oh,
Or
wow.
you could have looked at it as he was trying to keep those aliens from coming into his house too, I guess.
I want to know what kind of college kid follows an old man to his house and starts drinking whiskey with him.
Hey, you got to get that A somehow, okay?
Well, although Jerry, you did start with actually in chronological order almost in traditional Exploding Heads fashion. We're all over the fucking place, and which is fine. This is what we do. I love the way you guys are jumping right in with that. The reality is, now I've lost my train of thought, but I was going to say that
Let
you're
me
right.
help you. Choo choo.
Cat balls.
Screaming like banshees.
That helped.
Oh, he was
that helped. Yeah.
by far the best in the movie. It was the jam.
All right, Christian, come on, thrill me. I want to know your train of thought here.
Wonderful.
No, I love that whole backstory because they bring it back to the 1957. So we come back to the whole reason as to why we got this introduction. So we got the aliens. They set the experiment out. Mr. Venom, you said whether it was what was the plan for that? Was it get it the fuck off this ship, or we never know that part of it. But it lands on Earth, and we're in 1957. We get a black and white segment, which. Again, I've heard people shit on movies that do that say, "Oh, I hate when they put things in like." Who was talking sepia tone? Was it you guys that killed the cast? Someone hated sepia tone.
I don't think we necessarily hated it, but we were talking about the sepia tone that I think it's for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and I was talking about how great the cinematography is and how it was going. Like some scenes were shot in sepia tones, some were shot with this eerie blue to it.
Yeah.
So I think I was actually talking positive about that because I was talking positive.
Is that the new podcast? Jerry hates sepia tone.
Well, so I love the black and white segment. I love the music that the Paul Anka. But
it's great. Smoke gets in your eyes.
Or whatever one he did. And then the whole Lover's Lane with Starlight, Star Bright. It's like you're right in one of those movies.
Yeah,
and then how they introduce him as a cop, a young guy, you don't know who he is yet, and how they bring it back to that, and how that fucking axe murderer comes back from the dead as well. That is just like, I call this like, I love Back to the Future. It's one of my favorite movies. I love the script to Back to the Future as well. I don't know where I'm going with it. This is comparative to that to me. It's just like a love of movie and storytelling and interweaving all these different sort of timelines together in the sense of telling the full story. Totally different movies, but
it's crazy how good they are at tying in things that you're at the beginning of the movie. You're just like, the fuck are we in the? There's aliens, and then it's the 1950s, and there's an axe murder. What the fuck is going on? And then they tie it in so beautifully. It does not feel forced or anything. It is just, you just sit back and go, fucking congratulations.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
It's great how they bounce, and here's what's funny. You see the aliens, you see that crazy start, you see the 1959, you see 1986 after. Now, I'm watching this movie, and let me say, again, the title card is great. The way it starts with the letters, and it's almost like what they do with Stranger Things now. Another thing with title cards, it's fucking awesome. So let me just say that. But I'm watching this movie with my wife and my daughter. They've never seen it before. And because of the way it's set up, when they get to 1986 and they go to that party at the frat and they're drinking beer and they're playing music, my wife says, "Oh, that doesn't sound like 80s music." Now, here's the funny thing. Her making that comment, she thought that this is like a newer movie because we saw 59 and then it says 1986. Because usually when you see a movie in 1986, it doesn't say 1986. So I think that she thought that this was like a newer movie. And she's trying to discredit the song that they were playing. I said, "Baby, this movie was made in 1986. That is 80s music. Sorry to tell you." She's like, "Oh, okay."
Shut your hole. I'm editing this thing.
However, exploding heads. Yes.
Stop it!
But as usual, she redeemed herself because she pulled something out watching this movie. Not my dick. Don't start.
I hope not. You said you're watching it with your daughter.
Jeez, Dave.
Indeed. Yeah. They call them baldies. Yes, I know.
Oh, okay. I was drinking. Damn it! I almost spit that out all over the fucking computer.
So now we're watching the movie, and she says something. The first time we're introduced to Atkins in that dream sequence on the beach with the coconut and all that, doing his thing, the girl comes out of the water. Do you guys know who that girl is? Okay, thank you. So it is her and it's not me. As soon as she comes out, my wife says, she goes, "Oh, that's the girl that was in the car in 1959.
Well, that's what
I thought you meant, like, do I know who she is actress-wise? I knew it was the chick from the 1950 car commercial.
Yeah, I didn't know the actress. I thought that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah, I thought it was my actress.
No, I meant the character. I had no. Yeah. She looks 100% different. I didn't make that connection whatsoever. She looked like an 80s girl. She didn't look like. So it just didn't even register. And she always does that shit when I'm watching movies, and I'm like,
I didn't know it was a fucking suicide attempt, and I've made a suicide attempt. I can't really get mad at you there.
Wowzers. She comes out dry.
Goddamn, Jerry. You failed. You.
She got the same clothes that Michael Caine wears in Jaws of Revenge.
Right.
Oh, shit.
You know what scene is a perfect use of suspense with the visual editing and the sound? JC in the bathroom. Him going for that matchbook.
Here, every turd dropping the bowl.
Him going for that matchbook and, like, just the perfect timing of sound and the slug sliding by and him jerking his hand back. Just, I know that's going to happen, and I still jump every time.
Good sound design, for sure. I showed this movie to my father. My dad did not like horror movies. He loved Hitchcock. did not like horror films, but like other than old school, like he liked the Universal monster movies, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, and whatever, but not modern horror. I had to show him this movie because I loved it so much, and that scene said it gave him nightmares. Because of the sound design and the slug, and seeing the slug, even though you see the slugs through it, he said it stuck with him. And he told me, he goes, that damn movie you showed me. And my dad never had ever complained about nightmares or anything like that. So this movie resonated with him in that level. And that scene stuck out to him too. Powerful scene.
Also, Friday the 13th reference. No wiping.
No wiping. and someone actually wrote Striper rules.
Yes,
must have been Jason Lloyd or something like that, because no one else has ever said or uttered those words ever.
7.5.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, there's also
Monster Squad in there too.
Yeah, it says Monster Squad, and this is years before he directed Monster Squad.
Oh, this was before Monster Squad. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I'm not a big fan of it, and I wasn't. Okay. So, okay.
Whoa. You don't like Monster Squad?
Yeah,
I know.
I'll tell you what, Jerry. Hold on. Said I wasn't a big fan. I don't say I didn't like it. I never watched it growing up because when it came out, I was knee deep in slashers and everything else and Satan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pussy, but okay. That makes sense.
I should have been, but because I wasn't in pussy, I was into slashers. Right. Mm-hmm. But, no, so I was at that age that it seemed too kiddie for me, so I wasn't into it. So I never got into it. But, since making all these connections online with everybody that are a little younger, they love the Monster Squad. So about 3 years ago, it was on Netflix. So I watched it with my daughter, who at the time was like, 9 or 10. Watched it and, okay, it was fine. And neither of us had thought to watch it since, and it was just an okay movie. So
okay.
That's all I'm saying. I don't hate it.
You've got nards, Dave. You've got nards.
Oh,
yeah, I grew up on it, and as you know, I'm a
fuck our nards.
They're balls.
Oh.
No one in the history of fucking
Cat
history
balls.
has ever called them nards.
The 80s.
Nads.
Yeah.
In the 80s, we called them nads, short for gonads.
No, in the
Nobody
80s,
ever said kick them in the nards.
You called them nads. I wasn't in the 80s, so I don't fucking know what I'm talking about.
You call them go nards.
I'm familiar with the Nards reference.
Yeah. Maybe it's a California
maybe it's an
thing.
East Coast thing. No, I wasn't raised in California. I'm from Connecticut.
Oh, well, you should not tell people that. Yeah, I think I did grow up on Monster Squad. I love it as a kid, but I'm also a big Universal classic monster fan, so I think that's where it comes in for me. And that's another thing I like about this movie is a throwback to the 1950s alien invasion and radioactive monster movies that were everywhere. And that's why, I would love, the beginning of this movie is almost has a feel like the Blob, like the original Blob.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
And it's so, I don't know how this movie made me feel nostalgia for it when I just watched it only maybe 2 years ago, because I did a double feature of this and Night of the Comet, because when we were going to do I was trying to figure out another horror coliseum, and I was going to do Night of the Creeps versus Night of the Comet, and decided, nope, Night of the Creeps is going to destroy this. It's not even a battle. No, fuck, I'll throw this idea out.
Yep.
Because Night of the Comet had 2 zombies in it?
No, because Night of the Comet is not good. I don't know why people like that movie.
Thank you.
Unless you're super into the idea of getting to go into a mall. But if that's the case, just watch Chopping Mall. It's much more entertaining.
We did Night of the Comet on Rad Radio, and I caught so much shit because I was the only one who didn't like it, and everybody else was just talking so nostalgically about it. And for a guy who's on an 80s podcast, I'm not very nostalgic, and I'm sorry. Yeah, that movie, it's not even a horror movie. I'm not even sure what the hell people are talking about, but whatever.
I've never even seen it.
Yeah, people do seem to love that movie, and I'm with you.
Kenneth,
I love that.
Kenneth loves it. Kenneth was like, "Oh, you've got to see Night of the Comet. It's so good." And so I was like, "Okay." I bought the Arrow release of it, and I was just like, "This isn't that good. I don't know." But Dave Z, I've got a question for you.
All right.
I do have one problem with Night of the Creeps that I just cannot find a good enough explanation for, and I'm great at explaining away stupid things. Why did they put the boy on ice? from the 1950s. They never explained why they had him in the cryogenic chamber, ever. Did they know about the slugs? Did they know about the aliens? It's never fucking addressed why this random college has fucking one, a cryogenics lab, and two, a cryogenics lab in the fucking 80s, and they've apparently had since the fucking 1950s. Why they put them on ice? Did they know? I don't know. Did that ever even cross your mind, Dave?
No, but holy shit, I think you're onto something, because I can't think of a good reason either. Even if they knew the slugs were inside of them, you would think it would be the opposite. They'd want to destroy it. Why would you want to keep something like that alive?
At least in like Return of the Living Dead, they explain how the fucking zombie tank ends up there. In this same kind of scenario, except they do not explain it at all.
Area 51. Damn. But no, you know what? It is a good thing that you mentioned, but I just took it that it was a happy coincidence. I don't think they knew about it. I just happened to think that maybe he was the first thing. We are going to put this guy on ice. You're right. The timing maybe is a little off of when they started freezing people or doing this. And I think that just happened to be the fact that this specimen happens to be the guy that has this unfortunate alien infestation.
All right, we froze Walt Disney. Who's next? I don't know. We got this random fucking kid over here.
Right?
The only thing I could figure is that maybe when they found his body, he was basically lifeless. But with the technology in 1950, whatever, they weren't able to, figure out what the cause of death was. So potentially they're like, hey, we've got this cryogenic chamber. Let's freeze them until technology advances, and then we'll figure out what killed this kid. I don't know. It's a shot in the dark, but I'm trying.
Yeah, because I don't think they knew there was an alien inside of him, because if they did, he wouldn't have been out of college. He would have been on a military base like fucking Christian said with Area 51. So your explanation, Venom, sexy Venom, the sexiest Venom. I can't wait for the all sexy podcast produced by Venom. Ooh, baby, we are going to talk about the sexiest in horror movies. Have you seen Slime Bolorama? Ooh, I'm sexy Venom, and this is the all sexy podcast. But like,
wow.
Neil just came in his pants.
I need a shower now.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's the only thing in this entire fucking movie that you would think needs tons of explanation. Like, I don't question the aliens, I don't question the axe murder, I don't question the time jumps. The one thing I question is random boy gets cryogenically frozen, and I guess sexy Venom. Your explanation makes the most sense. Even though I'm still kind of like, what's so special about fucking this dick?
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay,
I have
but
a follow-up.
why?
Oh.
Go ahead, Venom. Go ahead.
I have a follow-up to that. When that kid gets to the tube, it seems like there's multiple slugs in there. So it looks like only one of the evil turds goes into his mouth. So where are the rest of them? Like, it looked like there were multiple creatures in that tube, but only one goes in his mouth. Am I to assume that they all went in his mouth?
They all died in the 1950s wilderness due to communism.
Well, I mean, fire did kill them, so the Red Scare potentially could have killed them too, I guess.
It's what I call a one night in Dave's room.
The Red Scare.
The Red Scare. Very nice.
I could take.
Well, you're right. No, there were. It did seem like there were multiple things swimming around in that, but yeah, maybe just the atmosphere of the Earth.
Maybe they went in every hole for the first guy. They didn't know which hole they exactly hit, so they just hit every single one of them.
Yeah, maybe the aliens have more holes than we do, so they had to search around.
Why are they gonna pay a guy to watch him too? They got this freaking guy in there cryogenically. They got this whole thing with passcodes, and the guy's down there, and there's really nothing else on the floor except this guy hanging up in this thing. You got fucking Dr. Mike Rotundo in there watching it, forgetting the passcode and shit. I'm like, what the hell? You're right.
Intern? Didn't they mention that he was an intern?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy, Mike Rotundo, that was calling the fucking thing with the notebook?
Yeah.
I they said he was an intern.
Cops. Yeah, the cops mentioned that he was an intern.
Oh, wow. Boy, he seemed like he was more important to me the way he was talking about the notebook and this and that. Oh, maybe you're right.
Sometimes interns act like they know shit, so they look smarter than they are.
Jeremy.
He certainly did. I'll say one big thing about this entire film. This is how you mix comedy in horror. You notice I didn't say comedy with horror, because it's not a horror comedy. This is a horror movie that has some comedic, lines in it. This is how it should be. People know that I'm not a big fan of slapsticky comedy and horror, but there are many moments in this movie that that incite a laugh or a chuckle, and that's clever in a comedic sense. I don't know if any other movie has mixed it this well.
Yeah, and a lot of most movies witty dialogue.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is that the comedy in this movie is based solely on the dialogue. There's no physical comedy at all, and I think that some horror comedies tend to rely on the whole physical slapsticky type comedy. So the fact that it was all sheer writing just makes it more plausible, more acceptable.
I love it for it. I really can't think of a movie that's done it this perfectly. Like Return of the Living Dead to a degree, I guess, but Return of the Living Dead is kind of a balancing act. It's really top heavy with the comedy, then it kind of goes away. I don't know. And like I've said before, that Shaun of the Dead is the perfect blend of horror and comedy together, and that's fine. But I honestly, watching this time, I really have a love affair with this film, where every time I've only seen it, I've probably seen it less than 10 times. But the last
I'm really
3 or 4
worried about
times,
Christian. I think he just got slapped by a poltergeist off screen or something.
No, my cat knocked down. Like I had I'm in an unfinished basement, and so the furnace is on, and because we're still cold, like I told you here, and so I was trying to block some of the sound there, and I had a freaking mattress there, and the fucking cat decided to jump and pushed it over.
I'm over here.
I think he's mad because I talked about him not having a dick.
Yeah.
I'm over here listening to Dave's fucking amazing essay on horror comedy, and I look over and Christian looks like he's getting fucking slapped by a poltergeist.
It's two times in a row. Last show he did
Why
the same
is the
thing.
carpet wet, Todd?
But Dave, you're right. Return of the Living Dead had a lot more visual comedy to go with it, and they pulled it off great. Night of the Creeps is how you pull it off dialogue only.
Yeah, I mean, some of these lines are so great. Get to practice in your goose step. Oh, come on.
Right.
An Aryan joke masked with just a knock on the guy. So yeah, absolutely loved it.
This movie is probably my favorite Tom Atkins movie, and you've got a lot to fucking choose from.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And this is my all-time favorite. And I love Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, my favorite from the Halloween franchise ever. But this is where you get all of the great lines that people quote from Tom Atkins.
Oh, yeah.
Besides the "stop it" line, as you heard earlier when he called Dave personally,
he did.
to give him a bump as a thank you for all the hard work Dave does letting Christian produce the show.
Yeah. It's a privilege to be able.
Yeah, it really is. Dave Z has a knack for getting the best producers in horror podcasting. He's 3 for fucking 3. I don't know how he does it. He's just fucking so good at it.
Eye for talent, buddy. That's the one thing I got.
Dude.
And stay tuned.
I'm just glad the echo's gone.
The echo's gone. You're welcome, Christian.
Really, this is the best Dave Z's ever sounded. I love it.
Yeah, I moved. I had to move out of the room. I did it for the listeners. So
Vodka and chicken fingers.
He wouldn't do it for me.
You never complained. What am I? You're still talking up, right?
Maybe not to you.
Oh yeah, he will. Christian will call me, and in the middle of our phone sex, he just fucking stops to bitch about your fucking echo.
Dave's got a new house. I'm happy for him. He went through all that shit. He's got a new horror room. Yeah. He's got lights. I'm really happy. Oh, he's doing great. But that fucking echo.
Yeah, what kind of professional horror podcaster, top of his fucking network, has an echo?
Yeah, I just paid.
Even Jeremy doesn't have an echo. He shouldn't have a voice, but he...
I just spent all
You're in the hall of fuckers now.
I deserve it.
How? Unless someone tells Jeremy about this, he'll never fucking know.
Oh,
Very
he
true.
doesn't listen.
He doesn't listen to anything.
No, by the time JP gets to it, it's going to be 3 months from now too. So yeah,
I'll be in the clear at that point.
yeah.
Neil's gonna, as soon as we get done with the show, he's just gonna start messaging. He's already got notes written down, everything we've said about Jared.
I already made a meme. It's already on the exploding head website.
Oh, great. While we're recording, we've got, what do we have here? We've got Thrill Me. It's Miller time. We got
Wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful. I love it. I say that. Here's what's funny. I say that all the time, like, sarcastically, all the fucking time, not even realizing that he did it either. And my wife was laughing about me saying it.
Oh my God, Neil.
He just saw the meme.
Oh my
I haven't seen it yet, but I will.
Oh my God, it's so fucking good.
I still can't see it, and that's okay. I will.
It's like a trailer, Dave. Don't watch it.
I've never seen my cat's dick.
Oh, best line ever in this movie that I don't feel gets enough love. In the 1950s, she's like, "If you leave, I'll let you fill me up."
Yeah. I'll let you fondle my breasts.
Fondle my dress.
Yeah. No, my breasts, not my dress.
I thought you said my dress.
No,
Which is even weirder.
Breast. What kind of weird fucking Canadian version are you living in?
I thought it was so old, like in the past, that like a dress fondling was second base.
About a boot, a breast, a dress, whatever.
Oh my God.
No, but I love that fucking
Paul
line.
Anka's
It's
Canadian.
It's so funny. And I don't feel like, because of how good all the other lines in this movie are, whether it's from Tom Atkins or the amazing JC, he's my personal savior.
Jesus Christ, yes.
I was thinking John Carpenter Hooper, but whatever. But that line is so good. In this movie, literally, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is why they froze the boy. And that's not that big of a deal. I can get past that. I don't really give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie is so tight. If someone told me that there was an extra 30 minutes of this movie, I honestly might be one of the few times where I would not want it, because this movie is so tight and so greatly paced that I don't think it should be touched. I don't know if I'd want to see it. I would more be like, whatever it is, don't show me. Make me the fucking movie where Tom Atkins chases down an axe murderer.
I did have one problem with one line in the entire movie, and it's such a nitpick. It's almost not worth mentioning, but in JC's audio tape that he left for his roommate.
I knew it. Go ahead.
Yep. He says, "I don't have a pulse. I don't have a heartbeat." This fucking kid's in college, and he doesn't know that your pulse is your heartbeat. Like, he made two separate.
He's got a fucking alien inside his fucking throat.
Fuck that. He's a college kid. He's got a brain in his head.
Right.
Well.
You're right. It's the same thing. Maybe he felt his pulse, and then he took his hand and put it on his heart, and it scared him.
Yeah,
but I do hear you.
I would say that today. Wait,
Yeah,
I don't have a
you know
pulse,
how-
I don't have a heartbeat.
I feel like he's just emphasizing, he's like trying to explain to you what the fuck is. I'm dead. I don't have a pulse. There's no fucking heartbeat going on in my chest. Like, I took it as I don't really have a problem with that dialogue, and you're personally probably going to burn in hell for saying such negative things about JC.
I was going to burn in hell for shit I did decades ago, buddy.
At the end of
I
the
know
recording,
that poor girl, you ruined her life with Event Horizon.
at the end of the recording, didn't it sound like he like screamed and killed himself at the end of the recording?
He did. He put his fucking head in a furnace. I don't know how.
Okay, so if he did that, how did the tape recorder get back up there?
That's been the big
in the
nitpick.
room.
Yeah.
That's what I
That's
brought
been
up
the big
when we
thing,
talked about
yeah.
this.
Because that was my problem when I watched it tonight.
Yep.
I was like, okay, he said I'm in the basement or whatever. How did the tape get back up there if he killed himself
I
on tape?
agree. And I said those exact words when we did our 86 show on 22 shots, and this was in all of our top 10s, but I brought up the exact same point. I said that was the one fatal flaw for me, was that. And I'm glad I'm not the only
It was
one.
my number one, I believe, of that year.
It was. And that was the only reason I
that
rated
is
it lower.
the only thing is maybe he didn't die there, brought the tape down, went back to kill him. But the way he talks on the tape says that I'm down in the boiler room.
And he
Maybe-
screams too, like
Unless
But
he's
maybe-
himself.
Just give him.
Maybe
telling
the
him where he's
scream
going.
is not from him killing himself. Maybe it's actually painful when you're transforming. When you're like, because a lot of the other people, it does seem like it would be that thing growing down your fucking throat, and maybe the transformation is painful. You know, you are dying technically. So maybe the scream was the beginning of the pain, and he had just enough energy to walk his ass with no sticks back up there to put that down there, and then make it back to furnace himself. Because he Forrest Gump this motherfucker. He could run
Furnace
now.
himself. Yeah. Well, and that's a great scene in Forrest Gump. On a side note, when he sheds those.
Maybe
You're lucky you're such a good producer.
I
I
love
was
me Forrest
thinking
Gump.
maybe a couple of the evil turds brought the tape recorder up there
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him. You know?
Maybe so. Dude, why was there a worm in that cat's eye?
Because he
I
was
know-
dead.
Bad
It's
word
bad
placement.
word-
Yeah,
bad
but he
word.
was.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
Thank
Also,
you.
does anyone
But-
else think the cat actually the cat, when they show the cat as a zombie, for some reason every time I look at it I just go, why does that look like a rabbit?
Yes, when it does turn its head and open its mouth, it does look like a jackrabbit. 100%. Yes, I thought the same thing watching it tonight. Yeah.
I always
Okay,
wondered why.
good.
rabbit.
Sorry.
A stunt rabbit.
Stunt rabbit.
They
I was
couldn't
wondering why
hire
they
another
showed
cat.
the cat's face. She brings the cat up, and the cat sort of turns to the camera for a split. They could have cut like maybe 2 frames out of that, so you didn't see the face, and then they show zombie face. So you see the cat's face is all fine
Yeah.
for a split second, then they cut to the close up for the zombie reveal.
But there was a worm in its eye. Like it was a regular cat, right?
Massive
and the
decompo-
thing got spit into it. The slug got spit into it, and I get that. And then it came out,
Decompose in
and
a
then it
day.
opened its mouth. But you know what I'm saying? Why did it go underground? It wasn't a dead cat. It wasn't like it was church.
No,
No, it was a
Dave.
dead cat.
Actually, it was a dead cat because
It died,
the
but it was
sorority
alive.
girls- but the sorority
It
girls
died, but it was alive.
Mention
It died from the slug going into its mouth, but that was its cause of death. It was alive
Maybe,
and was killed.
maybe
in
they
an
spilled a
instant.
bottle of tequila on it.
I've got an answer for you, Dave. Legitly.
Okay.
The sorority girls talk about the cat being dead. They know the cat is dead.
I thought it was
And they go,
missing,
"Don't
they said.
No, they say, don't tell her what happened to the cat. That's what they say. Don't tell her what happened to the cat. Meaning there is a possibility. Now, technically, you're right. It could be missing. But I would honestly think that if they say, don't tell her what happened to the cat, it hasn't been enough time for them to call the cat missing when it's an indoor cat. Because cats will disappear for days, and they would know that. So most likely, something happened to the cat. They saw it dead, and maybe they did a quick burial or something like that to where a worm could have got in. It's a weak excuse.
I thought they said they buried him in the backyard. First of all, I don't know if you noticed, Jeffrey Combs comes into just through the back door. Jeffrey Combs comes in. Did you notice he was in this? And he smashes the cat against the wall.
Do you mean this cat dead detail?
You son of a bitch.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Nice.
Dead details later. There's your note, Dave. I swear they thought they said, no, it would break her heart. So they do reference it, like Jerry said, about the cat being dead. Now, maybe I'm just remembering incorrectly, but I thought they mentioned that they buried him in the backyard.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. I thought the
You're right.
implication was that it was just missing because I remember seeing a live cat that looked like my girl Ginny. She came in, did her thing, then left. Then the next time we saw that cat, there was a little scratching on the door. The chick went, she opened it, and then when she grabbed the cat freaking had the worm in its eye, and a slug came out of its mouth. That's all. That's what I took. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, we're spending too much time on this.
I love the fact that this is zombie cats, zombie dogs, and a zombie everything in this movie.
Oh man, that bus flip.
Oh, do you know the guy's eyes pop out of his head?
What guy?
If the bus driver's eyes.
Oh,
Bus
yeah.
driver.
I did. It's like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Before the impact, his eyes pop out.
And another
He's like,
great
"Oh,
Tom
shit, I'm gonna
Atkins
hit it."
line. The good news, your dates are here. Bad news, they're dead.
Fucking, that is the classic line. We've said them all now. Like, I mean, well, not all of them. There's even more, but that line
many.
is fantastic.
He said, "I'm gonna." What did he say? I'm gonna have poop patrol with your nightstick.
Yeah.
He said to a cop.
You're gonna play Poop Patrol with your nightstick.
He's gonna shove a fucking nightstick up a cop's ass. That's amazing. I love it.
Was it a homicide or a bad B movie?
Yeah, right. Yes. Great stuff. Here's another one. Do you guys realize that is a callback later on in the film to the character in 1959 who throws the rock at the window of the girl? My wife pointed that out. I never made that connection before.
Wait, you didn't know that the first zombie guy that appears is the cryogenics guy that is the one from the 1950s who picks up the girl and then goes back in his zombie head to the last place he knew of?
I knew that. I knew that it was the same zombie, the same person, but I didn't make the connection on throwing the rock at the window a second time to a different girl.
Where did he buy the flowers? He gives her, he hands her a flower.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of I've always, whenever I see that scene, I always think of Dawn of the Dead when they're like, well, they came back to the mall because that's where they knew.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And do you think
it was one of the last things he did in life was throw the rock at that window. He dies like an hour later. So yeah.
And now was the other zombie going back to the hospital where he escaped from because he was escaped lunatic, the ex killer? When you see where he's heading, is he going into a psych ward? Because that's where he was. That's where he had his original killings from.
Possibly.
That's something else my wife brought up. She goes, I think he might be doing the same thing. That it's like a memory of something. I'm like, no shit. Because I didn't make either connection, so I was like, okay.
We skipped over the fact that you say you see main star booby. Usually, you never see that in movies. It would be a secondary character, and you have the main star changing. And
so
she's
sexual.
Attractive.
She's a doll. Oh my gosh, yes.
Very much so.
It wasn't really done. It wasn't done in a sexualized manner, is what it was. It was just a quick changing thing.
Yeah, it reminds me of
Not that I'm complaining.
The changing scene in Night of the Demons, where she's just kind of getting ready before they go out. They do linger a bit more in Night of the Demons, but
Letitia's boobies, sis.
But you know what? There you go. You have everything in this film. You have zombies. You have these freaking crazy slugs. You have gore. You have a good backstory. You have comic lines. You have TNA. You have good characters. You have characters that you care about. This movie just keeps going up for me each time I watch it, where now I'm to the point that I think you were when we did the 86 show on 22 Shots, where you watch this film and you're like, this is a freaking classic of the genre. And it just took me time to realize that. And I cannot wait to look at I think Scream is going to re-release in the next couple of months. Yes. So I'm really excited to get that and get the specs on that and everything else. But this really is a classic in the genre that I think has just been kind of overlooked.
And
like
one
people
of them
speak of it fondly, but nobody puts it on a pedestal as they put on like a Return of the Living Dead or a Reanimator or something like that. You know?
And it deserves to be there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They got a theatrical release, just not anywhere near me.
I will say this. Perfect introductory horror movie for someone. It's fun. It's fast. It would be a great one who's someone's like, I'm not too much into horror. Watch this.
Unless they don't like gore, because there's a lot of splitting heads.
Yeah, but none of it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll take an exploding head any day as long as I don't have to watch the scene in Pet Cemetery
Especially when it's pointed at your face.
when they fucking slice an ankle. I don't want to see a fucking ankle get sliced.
Oof.
I'll take a fucking head blowing up any day over an ankle slice.
Exploding heads rock, man. Absolutely.
But these exploding heads were kind of comical, though. They weren't. It was gory, but it wasn't like, you know, like August Underground glory. It was comical gore.
That's
you could
true.
really tell they, you know, you could look at the heads and tell they weren't, you know, really.
I can't believe I never noticed the fucking suicide thing. Like, I feel like I need to go rewatch that scene.
I know. I can't believe it either.
I cannot believe I did not. Like, I am amazed that I missed that.
I wore this VHS tape out. I watched this movie so many times when I was younger. I love this film. And there's so many things I found out. I had the TV version because that had the separate ending. That was the first time I saw the separate ending. So the ending I always grew up with was the dog with the slug at the end.
I don't think I've
right at the camera.
I don't think I've seen it either.
It's all the
I've
house.
only seen the UFO over the graveyard.
I never saw that until I got the TV version on it. So the VHS version for the whole time that I owned it and watched it growing up was the house blows up. You never see Tom Atkins leave
Again,
and fall. That's it. It just blows up. And he counts it down. He's like, "Detective, thrill me." Boom! It blows up, and then there's some music comes on. You see a shot of the flower with the fire in the background, and then the dog walks up, and she goes down to pet it, and the slug comes right out in 3D at the camera, like right directly at the camera, not in 3D.
I've never seen that ending, and you know what? I think I would like that better than the walking burnt Tom Atkins.
So I like both, but I mean that was what I grew up with.
Too.
And well, then who's not going to see that big honking ship? Like it's a huge ship.
Yeah.
So
right, but it could just be happening now for the first time.
Is it the same dog that infests the Bradster?
Yeah. The Bradster.
How many fucking slugs can you fit in that damn thing?
So with the spaceship coming back at the end of that version, does that mean that the thing they weren't trying to jettison it at the beginning? It actually escaped or something?
And two of them were trying to stop that one that was trying to jettison it. So obviously that one had a problem with the experiment. It's just a matter of what the problem was.
How did the aliens show up this far away, like 30 years down the road, randomly?
Maybe when they came back to life, they got alerted somehow.
Yeah, the slugs.
I don't know about that.
They're tracking down the slugs because it's one of them. Think about it. They're aliens.
Yeah.
They're tracking them, and they've been dormant all this time, and all of a sudden, it's a light. You know, their life form is out and about. They, you know, if you want to believe in aliens, I guess you can accept the fact that they can detect when, you know, the other specimens are around. That's what I took it as. Because I think the movie was closing, and my wife or my daughter, somebody said, "Oh, so nobody can see that ship?" And my immediate response was, because these things just got free. Now they're coming down to do something about it. That's what I took from it. That
also, no one's
ever
looking
seen
at the ship because there is a fucking college dormitory on fire.
That too.
Well, that because I mean that's him leaving, and he falls. His head breaks open. And the slugs go into the cemetery. And
yeah,
that's
we see
the
only
light come down. And
that's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, and that was a TV version that I remember. Like I taped it off TV to have like just to see if they would do the extended scenes like they usually do in the TV versions. And I don't remember what else, if there was anything else extended. I'm sure there were other things. Where I was going with it, I was watching it so many times, you notice things like the when they're looking at the cadaver on the floor and it pans up, they did a beautiful makeup job on the head and it's split open and there's blood, but you'll see it's just a white mannequin. The body's just a white mannequin on the floor. And if you actually look at it, but it's because it's just a camera pan from the body up to the staff. They don't really focus on it too long. But if you actually look at the body, it's just a white mannequin with the gore made up for the head.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Because I thought the zombies and the gore looked great. Great stuff. And then as I'm watching the credits towards the end, there's 6 people credited with doing the makeup effects that weren't the slugs. And 2 of the 6 are 2 of the guys from KNB. Not Nicotero, but Berger and Kurtzman. I was like, look at this. This is early KNB shit. And it makes sense because I thought that stuff looked great. I mean, I didn't notice that thing, but I mean, whatever. I mean, in the 80s.
That's just watching the movie so many times. Like, first view, no. But, I mean, you just pick up on these things after a while. But it's a personal favorite of mine. I've always loved it. There's so many great quotable lines as we've outlined throughout this, and it's more that we haven't even said. Get my 12-gauge shotgun.
How about? Oh yeah, me and my 12-gauge. Yeah, I wasn't exactly alone. I had my 12-gauge shotgun with me.
The Dick Miller cameo.
Oh. Dick Miller,
Dick Miller sighting.
Is he always Walt in his cameos? Is that Walt from Bucket of Blood? I don't know. He's Walt Gorney. Is that his name?
Walt Gorney. You know who that is?
Oh, that's Crazy Ralph. Walt, I'm thinking
Ralph Gorney.
Yeah. Funny enough, Dick Miller's character in this movie is called Walt.
That's what I'm
also,
saying.
That's what he's saying. But he's Walt in the other. You're right.
Shane Black is also in this movie as one of the cops in the police station, and also you just mentioned Greg Nicotero is an extra in this movie.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
But he didn't do any of the effects. That's freaking weird. Maybe he's just uncredited. Wow.
He is uncredited as an extra.
Right, but for makeup, I mean, he has the other 2 KNB guys there. Wow, that's so weird. You know? Well, how about JC being a prophet in this movie? Those little lines that he says where
yeah, I'd rather have my brain invaded by aliens, parasites or something. That was great.
Yes, because I'd rather have my brains invaded by creatures from space. And then earlier in the film, when he was pushing his buddy to hook up with the girl, he said the fate of the world could be in balance here or something. He said, and in a sense, it is. If they didn't hook up together, who knows what would have happened ultimately? So, just little details like that. Man.
All hail JC, our new Lord and Savior.
Yeah, that's him. He's a prophet.
Flamethrower.
Oh yeah, bucket of blood's fucking.
Just your basic run-of-the-mill flamethrower.
Yeah. I don't have the requisition papers there, Walt.
That's the thing. I don't have the recreation funds.
Did you say you found it, Jerry? Or no?
Found what?
I just wanted to see if it was a bucket of blood.
Oh, I know he's in a bucket of blood. I don't remember what movie.
Yeah, Walter
Paisley.
Paisley.
What his name was.
Walter Paisley's his character in Bucket of Blood, and I'm pretty sure that's what the throwback is to.
Yeah, well, actually, he's named the same name in a lot of movies. Because what's his fucking name in Chopping Mall? I think it's the same thing.
What's his name in Gremlins?
I'm looking.
I figured everybody knew that one.
I'm not a big Gremlins fan.
Okay.
Knowing that's Joe Dante, it's probably Walt.
in Chopping Mall, his name is Walter Paisley.
Yeah, so that was the ongoing gag then, I guess. That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, and man, Bucket of Blood is such a fucking underrated movie.
It's funny, I heard a story from my dad's friend dragged my dad when he was when they were younger to see a Bucket of Blood in the theater. And my dad's buddy would always drag him to see all the Roger Corman movies, and my dad was not interested in seeing these. So he would tell me about seeing a Bucket of Blood and all that, but it was not the type of movies he liked.
He was Murray Futterman in Gremlins.
Oh, okay.
Murray, that's right. Yeah.
Did y'all see Dave Z's box move like the fucking bag on the floor in Audition?
You see it?
Have in the box.
There's the cats got down here somehow.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Because I'm over here
Them
like
two and their cats.
My cats have been scratching at the door most of the night, but luckily I don't think it's been picked up because they've been wanting in all night. But the kitten will get all crazy. My boy will just climb up here and sleep, but kitten will fucking start doing coke and shit. It's fucking awful.
Just like his daddy.
Yeah, boy.
We talked about the cool effects later, dude. We talked about the missing link. We've pretty much hit everything. I think.
I think so. Yeah. Is there anything else, or should we?
Has everybody watched this multiple times?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, this is only my second time seeing it.
Do you have the blue? Do you have the blue? Like I've got the blue with the really shitty cover.
Yeah, me too.
The really
I don't own this one on blue. I'm probably going to try and get the Scream Factory release.
Oh yeah,
I'm not going to get the Tom Atkins figure because
too much money.
It's too much money. Even though I will say this, I got the Night of the Demons Angela figure, but the paint job was so terrible on it, I ended up selling it, and it did sell for more than what I paid for that and the Blu-ray combined. So you actually can basically get it for the Blu-ray for free if you've got the time to wait, because you can throw that bitch on eBay and it'll sell.
Good call. Yep. Maybe I'll do it. Well, then again, if the Atkins thing is great, maybe I'll keep it, because when are you going to see an Atkins figure? you know? And the Atkins isn't going to live forever. He's pushing freaking 90 at this point, I think. Yeah. He's up there.
He's still doing shows, though. I mean, I just saw him a few months ago. He's still chipper. He's always in a good mood. Really happy to talk to the fans. Yeah, he's a great guy.
He is great. He called me today. Of course he's a great guy.
R.I.P. Dick Miller, because he just passed away.
Yeah.
January, end of January, right?
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought when I saw him. I go, oh, man. It was like one of those things. Like, it's the first time I've seen him since he passed. I'm like, there's Dick Miller. And, of course, nobody in the room knew what I was talking about. But what are you going to do? You know? It is what it is. I'm going to rate the movie. I'm gonna give it a real rating because I've never done it on this show. So I'm going to go high on it. I'm going to say it's a 9.5. I fucking love it. I just keep coming up on it, and I think it's a classic in the genre. So.
I've always said, I'm right there with you. Full head explosion. I've rated it a perfect. I'm a little bit more lenient with my 10s for you guys out here. I don't have a shitload, but I have a lot more than just 2. Because I think you said Friday and Jaws were your only 10s. I got a shitload more than that.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because I don't. Every movie has flaws, one way or the other. It's a movie, but
Yeah.
I look beyond it and I look at just like what it means to me. So yeah, nostalgia can play into that as well, but it's the full package. And this has that script that I brought up earlier as well, and everything to go with it. So awesome film and film.
Wait, so you're giving it a 10?
I gave it a 10, full head.
Ooh,
Nice.
yeah. This movie is hand down one of the best movies of the 80s, period. Amazing story and script. Dialogue is just fan-fucking-tastic. The pacing on this movie is one of the better paced movies to come out of the 80s, because some of them can really drag as they're building up the story before shit starts popping and people start dying. Does not have that problem. It is entertaining from the start. It's Atkins at his very best. Just enough comedy to keep it funny, but not enough to take away from the horror. One of the better spins on a zombie movie, because I mean, technically, I would call this a zombie movie.
Yep.
And it's one of the ways to spin it that is really good. I'm gonna go 9.5 inches, something that I don't get, I don't have, maybe one day, but an easy 9.5 for me. I would watch this anytime.
Awesome,
man. Gents?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much have to agree with everything that's been said. This movie is near flawless. I mean, any negative stuff that I have to say is the sheer definition of nitpicky. I mean, there's really nothing quote unquote bad about this movie. Performances are great. The soundtrack, the effects are spectacular, good tension. Like I said, I feel like I'm just repeating everything that's been said, but I'm right there with Jerry. 9.5 out of 10.
Woo!
Yay!
I think when I did this on our show, I originally gave it an 8. But after watching it again today and doing this show and listening to everything and talking about it, I'm going to go up to a 9 as well. It's a great movie, and it does go by so fast. It's an hour and a half, and it never gets boring. It always just goes and goes and goes. And like, you watch it and you see something new all the time. Little things in the corner or whatever, the different slugs. And the wall of slugs was creepy as fuck too, just watching them all slither around in that basement.
Yeah.
That was creepy
great.
shit.
Yeah,
So yeah,
man.
I'm going to actually go up a whole point on this and give it a 9 out of 10.
Was that a digital effect or was that practical? The wall of slugs, like right before Atkins lights the lighter.
It looks mostly practical, but then there's that one part at the end when like the 5 or 6 come out and they kind of
when
wiggle.
they lunge,
that looks that looks digital to me. But everything else, I think for the most
animated,
part,
yeah.
I'm no expert, but my opinion is that 90% of the time you see it, it's practical, and then they screw around a little bit with digital, whatever the hell they do.
Yeah, all right.
That's what I think.
I'll accept it.
The little nuances of the duct tape over the mouths. Fuck, I
Oh,
can keep going
yeah.
on backwards. Just, I already killed you once. And when he turns around, there's just so many great
it's
moments. Just so
the
many great
smile.
moments. Yeah.
Love
Yeah, and
the
he
smile.
smiles. Yes, so cool. Smiling.
That creeped me out the first time. Yeah,
Oh,
like
And
you
playing
recognize, even though he doesn't have eyes, he somehow recognizes them.
Yeah. He had no eyes. But coming out of the dead mother's floorboards was pretty creepy too. And playing on from outer space being on TV is kind of cool. And
You fools! You stupid fools!
her getting half of her face chopped off was quick but effective.
and she just sat there and looked.
Yeah, he
I'm
didn't
a
even
gun. Like,
react.
I love that. I love just
Okay.
succumbing to death.
Yeah. Okay, I'm half asleep.
She's probably
anyway.
thinking I had a good run.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Right? She's up there. She's tired. She's nodding off. Fuck it. Okay.
I've been to Woodstock. I can die.
Nice. So I guess it's in our Hall of Fame. See,
Yeah.
I guess it's, with all these great grades. The 5 people and the lowest grade was a 9.
Fantastic.
That's fucking that's serious right there. So there you go.
It's always fun when a personal favorite gets in there too.
Yeah, man. Of course.
I would like to sit down and talk to someone who hates this movie.
They don't
Like, I
exist.
would legitly want to know what they did not like about this movie.
I agree.
It's probably going to be a non-horror fan who maybe just caught it on.
Well, there's got to be some horror, because
That's true.
I didn't think there was anyone that hated Jaws, and then I found someone who hated Jaws. I killed them, but I found them first.
I have one right here. I love this book. I think he was a prof at a Canadian university, and he A prof, not a prophet. A
Oh,
professor.
okay.
Professor.
Okay,
I thought he said prophet too.
Yeah, a prophet. at
He's a
local
Canadian
university.
prophet.
Yeah. JC.
I got.
He works at Tim Hortons on his days off.
You motherfuckers. You guys talk amongst yourself while I find this bad boy, but.
I can't wait to finally hear the reason we can blame Canada.
So this guy's gonna read something out of a book where the guy trashes Jaws. Interesting.
Not
Okay.
Jaws, Night of the Creeps.
Ah,
Night of the-
Jaws. I don't think anybody's trashed Jaws. You know who would have trashed Jaws? A critic back in the day who then probably wanted that review buried. Like when it came out, there's probably some review that's like, oh, this, it's a calculated bullshit, manipulative thriller, and it won't even scare the little ones or whatever. And then everybody's like, this is the scariest movie ever. It's like, holy fuck, I gotta bury this thing.
Literally kept people out of the water forever.
Yeah, man.
I still haven't gone back in the ocean, and I live in California.
For real? Because of Jaws?
Well, at first, yes. Now, I'm obviously a little bit more logical, but I just don't like the ocean.
When I was younger, I used to have dreams about a pool breaking open and a shark coming into it. And I wrote in third or fourth grade or something. They had us write a short story, and I wrote about this because
that was your first day in the insane asylum.
Yeah, well, back in the 90s at Blockbuster, they used to do those kid prints videos where they would record asking you questions, and if you ever went missing, they could put out a video so people could hear what you sound like and all of that. And my mom did one for me, and we still have it. And when they're like, and I'm like 4 or 5, and like, so what's your favorite movie? And my mom's like, you love Wizard of Oz, and I go, Jaws. Just Jaws.
Was it Jaws?
Yeah, Jaws. It's been my favorite movie since I was 4.
Draws.
That's awesome. I've never been afraid of Jaws or sharks or monsters. All my life.
It's because you live in New York.
I used to even play we used to have a game we used to play. I had a shark. Then I used to throw it in my pool. And we had a game called Jaws with your jaws. So you threw the thing in the bottom, it sank to the bottom, and you went to there and you picked it up with your teeth. You came back to the top of the
easier
water.
ways to get a blowjob. You could literally just ask.
I gotta read this review now. And this is for Night of the Creeps, not Jaws. And he does a synopsis of the movie, which I'll skip. And so he says, obviously a movie thus titled is not meant to be taken utterly seriously, and the intent here was to clearly be both funny and scary, kind of like Nerds Meet the Living Dead. Unfortunately, it doesn't really manage either, leaving us with a lame script, annoying characters, effects that we've seen before, and actors that we might not see again. This has decent production values and is not seriously bad, just another disappointing example of a movie that fails to fulfill the promise of its title. I can't disagree more.
What? Yeah,
that is
everything he said is the total opposite.
I remember when I read the Robert Ebert review of The Thing, where he literally says that John Carpenter's The Thing sacrificed suspense at the altar of gore, and I was like, The Thing is very suspenseful. What the fuck are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You were listening to Robert Ebert, not Roger Ebert. That's probably why.
His evil cousin.
Maybe if you listened to Roger, he would have said it was better than that.
Oh my god. That is literally the worst review I've ever heard, and I've listened to NFW.
I don't review movies, so you've been listening to the wrong show again, fella.
Anyway.
Yes, anyway. Time for bed, people.
Time for bed is right.
Neil's got to get up early.
Yeah. I got to get up in the morning and go see Us. So, yeah, we're going to the 10:45 matinee.
Have fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I think you'll like it.
Cool. Looking forward to it. I saw we showed my daughter.
Says it's a new masterpiece.
A masterpiece? I'm not holding my breath.
Everything's a masterpiece to them youngins.
Yeah, whatever. But maybe this episode's a masterpiece and somebody.
Oh, it already is. Yes.
Well,
so
we have to thank. Yeah,
yes.
Dave, you do the honors. He's so good at this.
I'm okay. No. We have to thank our guests. We have to thank the two Jerrys, Jerry Herring, Mr. Venom, Jerry Cortez.
Sexy Venom.
And
Sexy
Venom. Sorry. And Mr. Nudie, the king of memes, Uncle Nudie. Guys, why don't you take turns plugging your wares? Because I'm not going to do it. So,
all right.
Listen to these fine podcasters.
Come check out Kill the Cast, where we do a horror podcast and we do great shows like Horror Coliseum. Also under the banner, we have Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space featuring the very sexy Daddy Venom. Oh, yeah.
That's my hip-hop name.
Yeah. And we also have Jerry Hates Action, where I discuss why I don't like action movies and see if, with my newfound old age and health issues, if the prune juice will make me actually like action movies. And also, we've got videos on YouTube. Come find out about the Friday the 13th video game that came out before the NES video game, where Jason is dressed like a greaser instead of a man, I don't know, a 8-bit version of Prince. Yeah.
Don't get us started singing.
Gonna piss me off. Fuck you, man. Fix the car.
Exactly.
Wipe my ass with a rabbit.
Come find out about horror movie video games you probably never heard of, and other random shit. And that's it. My name's Jerry. I'm funny on here, and I'm funny in other places, and I just really want to talk about sexy Venom again. All right, I'm done.
Go ahead, sexy. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna list them down because there's too many to talk about. But as Dave mentioned at the beginning, you've got the Horror Cast, Rad Radio, the All 80s Podcast, Theme Warriors, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space with our friend Mr. Jerry Herring, No More Room in Hell with the famously snoring Mike Merriman, and also the legend Corey Graham. Very happy to have him on the show. The sister podcast to that one is No More Room in Hell presents Fresh Cuts, where we only concentrate on the newest movies. Look out for our episode on Us. Should be recording tomorrow, should be out Monday. And then my newest venture, of course, as mentioned, I recently joined the cast on the Slice and Dice Dreadcast with Joey and Bill from the Horror Mafia, so look out for that one. Most of these shows are on the Horrorphilia Network. Underwater Kaiju is on the Legion Podcast Network. And if you want to see my sex tape, you can't.
You can if you contact me.
Patreon.
Yeah. That'll be a No More Room in Hell Patreon.
You all know NFW. If you listen to this show, you know Horrorphilia, NFW, and Hard to Kill podcast on the Revival Network. So check it out.
Thanks, gentlemen. This has been awesome.
It was a
what
great
podcast
time.
do you do again, Christian? I forget.
TGIF 13, which is in a 7th month hiatus.
TG,
Yeah, really.
I forgot to do a show.
Yeah.
I actually thought about you guys the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't seen an episode in months. What's going on?
The last thing I did was that crossover when I talked to Preston DeFrancis from Ruin Me. And before that was Vince and I in August.
Did you bury Vince in the backyard? Is that what happened?
Yeah. We'll be back. We're hoping in the next couple of weeks.
And speaking of being back, hopefully Brandon comes back next show. We miss you, buddy. We love you. Hang in there. And you guys as well, you definitely have to come back. Maybe together again, maybe separate. But you guys...
Nope.
Absolutely. I'm sure you guys have figured out by now I'm an absolute podcast whore. So yeah, I'm anywhere people ask me to be. I'm like Visa.
We'd love to have you. The thing
I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a great time. I had a good time. Really good.
Definitely.
Long overdue for all you guys. The thing is, with you're the patron, it's hard to ask for guests to come on because we're watching so many movies. It's not for us to say, hey, come on the show. We're talking about 3 movies and 2 triple R's. We're going to be 5 movies. You got to watch them and review them. And you know what I mean? It's tough to do. So that's why as soon as we had this opportunity and Brandon's like, go ahead and do something, we're like, okay, let's just have friends on and have some fun and guys that haven't been on before that we'd like to have on. So I'm glad we did it. And again, you guys have got to come back on Hopefully when Brandon's here, because you know
Yeah.
it
Make
ain't,
fun
it
of
ain't
him.
the
We can
season.
all make fun of him together.
Yes.
And if you want to hear intimate details of the life of Dave Z and Brandon Orlick, come check out the interview episodes I did with them on Kill the Cast and learn about Dave Z's dumbest thing he's ever done in his fucking life, which I won't go into. Go listen. It blew me.
Does that
and
marry
Kenneth's
his
mind.
first wife?
No, it was dumber. It was dumber than that to me and Kenneth.
Hey, without her, you wouldn't have your daughter, though. So you know.
This is true.
There's always
That's
the
why
bad,
this
right?
other thing is
Thank you.
way dumber. And we also did Brandon Orlick, and at some point I'll get Christian on there and I'll interview him and we'll talk about all the intimate details of how to put Timmy Hortons in your ass.
One at a time. It's like anal beads.
Back bacon and Tim Hortons.
How do you clean anal beads? Do you put them in the dishwasher? Are they top rack safe?
I mean, you just put them in your mouth and fucking rip it out like a fucking lawnmower.
Yes.
Anyway, let's put this show to rest so you guys can sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's all go to bed.
Eternally.
We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Eternally. Again, thank you, listeners. Hope you enjoyed this little bonus episode, and we'll be back soon. Will it be episode 80? Only time will tell. But thanks for listening. We love you all. Peace.
Adios.
Everybody, thank you.
Listen to every episode, you know what's good for you. These Bloody Valentine podcast is great.
This is classic Spanky.